And
Cheers.
you have a good Tuesday as well.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for all the entertainment over the last few hours. It is the 9 till noon show, and it is in fact 9 o'clock. Time to get a news update, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A man has died after he was stabbed in Cork. The incident happened in Youghal late last night. Kelly Murphy has more.
It's understood a row broke out between two men in a pub on North Main Street in Youghal at around 10 o'clock last night. Emergency services arrived at the scene and a man was taken to Cork University Hospital to receive treatment for serious stab wounds. He was pronounced dead a short time later. The Irish Times reports a man presented himself to Middleton Garda Station at around 3 a.m. this morning and was arrested for questioning in connection with the fatal assault. The road is closed while Gardaí investigate the scene.
A county councillor says that Donegal County Council is missing out on some opportunities to remove social houses with defective concrete from their records. Councillor Ali Farron says he knows of one man who's aware of the condition of one such home and is looking to buy it regardless. Currently, the council does not sell houses that are suspected of having concrete blocks. Councillor Farron says one way of reducing the number of houses the council needs to repair, and it should be given serious consideration.
These people are sensible people, know what's entailed, and willing to sign a legal disclaimer that they will not be taking a case against the council. Now, there might have been decisions made before we joined the council, probably legal discussions, but every day is a new day, and there's families out there who want to get on with living, and the council are stalling on that.
You might start seeing warnings about AI on your Instagram or Facebook feeds from today. Meta is about to start notifying users of its plans to use public posts to train its artificial intelligence models. It will apply to EU users and includes posts, stories and comments. Host of the For Tech's Sakes podcast, Elaine Burke, says you can opt out.
You will have an option presented to you to object to that as well. It will link you to a form directly in which you can fill out and file that objection with Meta. To confirm that objection, you'll have to get a response from Meta to say that they're going to honour your objection. So don't assume that just filling out the form it's finished. You'd have to wait for that confirmation.
The Taoiseach is reassuring J1 students they will be safe in America once they obey the country's laws. It comes amid concerns over students getting involved in protests like pro-Palestinian marches while on their summer visa. The Trump administration says it stripped around 300 student visas. Taoiseach Simon Harris says he's reassuring parents and students about their upcoming J1s.
And many people do ask that question. They see scenes in America in terms of protest, in terms of Palestinian protest, and I suppose that does make people think again in relation to this. My advice to people would be that Ireland and the United States have a long and enduring relationship. Many people from the US come to Ireland and they're very welcome. Many Irish people travel to the US on holidays, on student exchanges, and I know they're very welcome too.
Looking now to weather, a dry start this morning, a little cloudy but sunny spells will develop through the day with highest temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees. That's all for now from the news desk, back again at 10 o'clock.
Hey there, Ireland has been busy returning. Have you? With thousands of deposit return points nationwide, it's never been easier to bring back your plastic bottles and cans. So whether you're on the go or bringing back a bunch, it's time to return and get your deposit back or donate to a local cause. When you return, you're making a positive impact on our environment by valuing our resources and recycling more efficiently. So return today and help create a cleaner, brighter future for us all.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning, and you're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio with me, Greg Hughes, and we're with you until 12 o'clock, and we've got a busy show lined up for you, lots of different stuff. Coming up over the next wee while. We want to hear from you as well, by the way. Maybe you've got a comment on some of the stuff we're featuring, or indeed you wish to pass on your own information. 086 60 25,000, that's the WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000, and send your emails to comments@highlandradio.com. And if you want to watch the show, you know the story, we're streaming on YouTube, Facebook and on the X platform. And digging through the papers, it's all Rory McIlroy. I'll read some quotes from I'll read some quotes from Micheál Martin a little later on, but obviously the papers have gone to town on it. Maybe people, especially those who don't like golf, are a bit bored of it. We're not talking about that today, but a bit of a debate raging online as to, well, which county is the most prolific in producing top sports stars. I mean, we're in for a shout there across multiple disciplines, but Rory's county's pretty good, it has to be said. Georgie Best and many others out of his county. But the other debate is Rory McIlroy the best Irish sports person ever? And it's raging on social media. What do you think? Do you think what he achieved puts him into that bracket? Or perhaps maybe you've got a different person that you believe to be the best sport person Ireland has ever produced? So maybe you want to suggest who's the best sports person out of the Northwest? Who's the best sports person this island has ever produced? Is it Rory McIlroy? You can text that into 08660 25,000. Who is our best sports person ever? And I think golf fans will go with McIlroy, but I mean, obviously, if you take a passing interest in it, you probably don't really see the significance of his achievements. But interesting, maybe. I'll think on myself. I don't know who our best... it's not necessarily who your favourite sports person ever is, but I don't know who I might pick as the best all round off the island of Ireland. I'll leave it up to you guys. 08660 25,000. Obviously, a lot of sort of justice news about with the Garda conferences ongoing at the moment. The Irish Times has some quotes from Minister for Justice Jim O'Callaghan, and I think it's important to mention these things because what happens is these ideas are floated, and the reaction determines whether or not they're enforced in the end. And Jim O'Callaghan wants to see greater Garda stop and search powers. I wonder what you guys think about this. Minister for Justice Jim O'Callaghan is progressing plans to grant Garda stronger stop and search powers, despite a report commissioned by his department showing they do little to combat crime. The report also found the approach, which has been adopted by UK police forces, created resentment towards the police and harmed community relations. In February, Mr O'Callaghan said new laws were needed to give Gardaí greater power to stop and search people they suspect of carrying knives. This following a number of high-profile knife attacks in Dublin, including attacks on 3 people in Stony Batter on February 9th, and the alleged murder of Quham Babatunde in the city centre following a concert. In 2021, the department created a group to examine approaches to reducing knife crime. This was chaired by the Minister of State, James Brown, and formed part of the department's antisocial behaviour forum. So obviously there's been an increase in knife crime in this country of late, which is increasing the need for further stops and searches. But I mean, like, we'll see what happens in England. Like, for instance... they've just announced that they're banning samurai swords in Britain because so many attacks are happening in the cities with samurai swords. But it's not banning the swords, you know what I mean? It's not swords that are going out slashing people. It's people, and you need to have enforcement, and these things need to be seen as very serious crimes, and people need to be locked up. But I wonder what has led to an increase in knife crime in this country that's led to a need for greater stop and search powers. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a good idea? Would it be something that might make you feel safer walking around the place if you knew that people would be less likely to carry an offensive weapon because they might feel they could be stopped and searched by Gardaí? But what happens even if people are stopped and searched? I don't know. Anyway, it's another layer of law over the top of society, and I wonder, is it really maybe not addressing what the root cause is, and that's people more inclined to carry knives. The Irish Daily Mail this morning, women won't be reimbursed for the cost of hormone replacement therapy that was due to become free, a state of affairs that has been labelled insulting. Now, this doesn't surprise me. It would be unusual and I'm not saying I don't think it should happen, but it'd be unusual if a date slipped for something then to be backdated. There's lots of commitments and promises made by government. Auto-enrollment pensions, the minimum wage, for an example. The minimum wage was due to increase. It's going to be pushed back. So when it is increased, obviously, it isn't going to be backdated. I'm not saying that shouldn't be the case, but this is one of those stories, I think, where someone's asked a question, is it to be backdated? Someone says no, and they've made that the story. Well, legislation to provide free HRT came into effect on January 1st, but its implementation was delayed in a row between government and pharmacists with no date set for its commencement. And the Irish Daily Mail can reveal that the scheme will not be backdated when it is finally implemented. Health Minister Jennifer Carroll McNeil has confirmed pharmacies will only be reimbursed for the cost of the medication from the date the measures formally commence. As I say, that doesn't surprise me. Some quotes from the Taoiseach as it relates to, as I flagged at the start of the show there, Rory McIlroy's achievement. He seemed to be very emotional about it all. Taoiseach Micheál Martin, US President Donald Trump and Britain's King Charles led political tributes to Rory McIlroy after he made history by winning the Masters and completing a career Grand Slam. So I kind of watched, it was in the background and there was other noise when Micheál Martin was talking about McIlroy. Did he have tears in his eyes? Was he emotional? He did make some sort of a reference to falling and getting back up again and falling and getting back up again, which made me think of Jesus Christ and the cross around Easter time. I'm not sure if he was sort of saying Rory McIlroy's achievement is sort of in that same ballpark, but anyway, he did look like he was very upset. I haven't seen that before, especially given all the serious items that he's asked to comment on. Or maybe he just had watery eyes that day. The achievement cemented Rory McIlroy's position amongst the best golfers of all time. Mr. Martin said he was left breathless by the roller coaster ending to the Irish golfers' near 2-decade pursuit of the green jacket at arguably the most famous golf course in the world, Augusta National. It was an incredible evening, and we were all up into the early hours of this morning. Apparently, their family WhatsApp group was going crazy. On to the Irish Daily Sun again. I just want to mention this because it's a story that if you don't hear about it today, you may not realise it's going to happen. The Sun, Ireland's Defence Forces Special Ops Unit, and I'm not sure, and this is not to be in any way critical of it, I'm not sure you were aware that we did have a Special Ops Unit, but we do. They're set to get a new €46 million HQ and training centre. The Army Rangers Wing are a secretive elite unit in Ireland's Defence Forces. So secretive, in fact, I didn't know they existed. The Rangers were involved in the most dangerous military missions. Back in 2021, they were deployed to Kabul to evacuate Irish citizens there after the Taliban had taken control of Afghanistan. And I believe they had to go on a different country's plane because we didn't have a plane that could go in and out, if that's the same story. Rangers were also tasked with dropping out of helicopters to forcibly take control of the MV Matthews ship in 2023 as part of the one of the country's largest ever drug seizures. I remember that footage too. So, 46 million for a new HQ down at the Curragh. Now, on to the Irish Daily Mirror. I don't know, how interested have you been in this story of Katy Perry and a few other women's brief entry into space? 11 minutes they were in flight, I think it was. They went up in this rocket, this private rocket. Then the rocket separates from the pod in which they were located. It floats around in space for a bit and then falls to the earth with parachutes deploying, and they all got out safe. Pop star Katy Perry made history as part of the first all-female group spacecraft. The suborbital mission run by Amazon billionaire Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin marked a milestone in private space exploration. It lasted 10 minutes and 23 seconds and reached the Kármán line, 62 miles, about 100 kilometres above sea level, the recognised boundary of space, and the capsule spent 4 minutes in microgravity before descending with parachutes and landing safely in the Texas desert. It carried Katy Perry along with aerospace engineer Aisha Bowe, US TV anchor Gayle King, entrepreneur Amanda Nguyen, film producer Kerry-Ann Flynn, and Lawrence Sanchez, fiancé of 61-year-old tycoon Jeff. Now, what is this fantastic? Is this one small step for womankind, a great leap for mankind, or whatever it might be? Like, the struggle I have with these stories is that there's an awful lot of stuff going around at the moment telling us that we are destroying the planet, right? And you will see that there is big stories that are going to be covered today about how climate is changing, and we're going to have to change our crops because harvests are drying out, and we're going to have to do our bit. And yet we have billionaires living completely different lives, right? Spending millions upon millions on these rockets. Effectively, Bezos and Elon Musk are in a peeing competition, right? So they're spending billions trying to get into space and fly people to space. You know, there's people starving all over the world, and then we're asked to contribute, and we're happy to do that, right? But maybe these guys might be better off spending a bit of money in supporting mankind themselves. And also, you've got the likes of that TV presenter who I'm sure goes on and does interviews telling people that they need to stop burning solid fuel or put in triple glazed windows and stuff like that. And yet there they are floating around in space. And it's not even really space, is it? It just is. I think it's makes a mockery of a lot of stuff anyway. But again, maybe that's just me being cranky because I only got 5 hours sleep last night. And finally, the Irish Daily Star this morning. A dead spider in a loaf of brown bread and a pack of muesli full of maggots were among almost 5,000 consumer complaints made to Food Safety Authority of Ireland's advice line last year. Disgusting. But what's the most disgusting thing you've ever found in your food? Or what's the most stomach churning thing along these lines that you've experienced? Come on, guys. I know you have your stories. Get them into me. 086 60 25,000 or WhatsApp or text, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Can you beat a dead spider in a loaf of brown bread or muesli full of maggots? Well, a total of 8,596 complaints and queries were handed by the support line or handled in 24, with the number of complaints increasing by almost 14%. All complaints received by the authority in 24 were followed up and investigated by food inspectors throughout the country. So a lot of foreign objects have been found in food, including a metal pin in pre-packed prawns, a piece of plastic in a milkshake, and a metal nail in a takeaway meal. A snail in a box of grapes, a live insect in a burrito bowl, which sounds lovely, and a large piece of metal in a chocolate biscuit. Can you beat any of those in your life experiences? 086 60 25,000. Okay, back shortly.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Join us on Highland Radio this Thursday from 2:30 till 5 at the Ocean View Bar and Restaurant in Downings, now under new management. It's Jive Time on location with music, giveaways and lots more. Be part of the fun and see you at the Ocean View in Downings this Thursday for the Jive Time show with David James from 2:30.
Virgin Media Broadband is smooth. How smooth, you ask? Well, imagine you're a big old walrus, and rather than lumbering around a glacier avoiding polar bears, you're on a lake, driving a speedboat. 3,000 kilos of mollusk-munching magnificence, feeling the wind in your whiskers and the sun on your big blubbery face. That's the kind of smoothness you feel with 99.9% broadband reliability. Available nationwide. Virgin Media. It's playtime.
Subject to location and availability. T's and C's apply. For broadband reliability, see virginmedia.ie/proof.
At Bluebird Care, every day is an opportunity to make a real difference. Where you change lives, where you're supported, where you belong. We're recruiting care assistants and nurses across Donegal for roles that offer flexibility, competitive pay and a supportive team that's always by your side. Whether you're seeking full-time, part-time or flexible shifts, Bluebird Care is where you can change lives every day. Are you ready to join a team that cares as much as you do? Apply today at bluebirdcarecareers.ie. Bluebird Care, where you belong.
Workwear, workwear, workwear. Borderland Muff. Mega wetsuit sale. Borderland Muff. Fashion, footwear and hiking. Borderland Muff. Stocking Columbia, Apache and more. Celebrating 25 years. Open 7 days and online. borderlandmuff.ie.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
It's 18 minutes past 9. We say good morning now to Tony Grant. Hi, Tony. Thank you for your time today.
Hello, Greg. Good morning. Hi.
Your story is one of your cancer treatment. Where do you want to begin?
Last Monday, I had an appointment in Sligo Hospital at 9:15 for some surgery. In the daycare ward to remove cancer from my face, and I was travelling on public transport, so I went down on Sunday on the 64 bus from Derry to Galway. I got off at Sligo and then had booked into a hotel, and I was on time on Monday morning for my appointment. And because it was a day ward, I needed to be back on that bus at 3 o'clock to get back to Letterkenny to get my connection on another bus back to Buncrana. So that was the deadline, 3 o'clock to be in the bus station in Sligo. And so I needed to leave the hospital, on a taxi at probably 2:30 to get me there in time, and that worked fine. I did get the taxi out, and I made the bus, and I was on the bus, but the hiccup was it hadn't stopped bleeding, the wound.
Well,
and
would it be unusual, Tony, for considering? I mean, obviously it's a significant operation, not a major one, but just like at 8:45, that was what time your appointment was at. What do you just go straight in and it's done, or what?
Yes, well, by 10 o'clock I was in the operating room and operating theatre, which, and it's the surgeon and the understudy and 5 or 6 people around the table. So it was a shock to me that it was such a big event, actually. I wasn't expecting that. But, however, everything was fine. Everything was fine, apart from something that nobody could control, I suppose, that the bleeding didn't stop before I left the hospital.
Yeah, but you were discharged. I just want to get down to that bit, Tony. Like, did they say, unfortunately, Mr. Grant, the wound is still bleeding, we're going to have to keep you for a while just to try and stem that flow? Or is it a case of, right, that's it, now off you go, heading back to Donegal, however you might do it? I'm just curious of the immediate aftercare of this operation.
Yeah, they said, look, if that continues, the surgeon said it will stop. And he was right, it did stop, It stopped at 10 o'clock at night when I was in bed. It finally stopped when my head went down on the pillow. And, that's the thing. He said, if you've any problems with it, go to your GP. That's with the advice, leaving the hospital. But actually, when I was leaving the hospital, even the non-medical staff stopped me and said, what happened to you? And there used to be people coming in and out all the time. But I said sarcastically, because my mood wasn't great whenever I was suffering. Well, I wasn't suffering. I was just had a procedure, and I'm a good warrior. And I'm 76, but I'm a fit man. And so they said to me, what happened to you? And I said sarcastically back, I tripped on the stairs. And the reply was, well, you should see somebody before you leave the hospital. You shouldn't leave the hospital like that. And I said, oh, no, I just had a procedure. I climbed down right away. I knew I was overstepped the line. And I said, I had a procedure. I'm okay. So went out, got into the taxi and was back on the bus. But they gave me plenty of bandages or whatever to mop up the blood. Now, it wasn't bleeding profusely. It was a drip. That's what it was. And uncomfortable and all the rest of it. And lots of gazing from the general public when I got off at Letterkenny. And so there you are. It was stressful.
So, of course, it was stressful. And, I think you're quite reasonable in what you sent us, in that, if it is the case that the likes of yourself have to travel, which is really quite a long way and a complicated, it was like plane, trains and automobiles coming home, the taxi and 2 buses, that if we are having to travel to Sligo or Galway or Dublin for these procedures, not everyone has the finances or necessarily the ability to book overnight accommodation and sort out all the connections and all that type of stuff. You're of the view that there should be, if we are forced to travel, there should be accommodation provided. Is that what you think?
Yes, I think a solution to an awful lot of the problems of appointments, etc., and management of patients would be a non-medical accommodation close to the hospital, or on the hospital grounds that would be non-medical, and that people could book into, and then before, then say my case the night before, and then afterwards, whenever, just in case something goes wrong or you're not completely ready to go home, but you don't actually need. I didn't need any extra medical care, as it turned out. But you know, just as it turned out, I might have needed. What if the bleeding hadn't stopped when I went to sleep and it bled all night? You know, that type of
Or
thing.
what if the
And then
advice was that you need to stay actually till we keep an eye on you? You would have missed the bus, maybe not been able to booking anywhere.
Yes.
You could have found yourself
That's right.
standing in Sligo town or wherever, standing outside the hospital
You're
at 5
right.
o'clock in the evening. You know,
well,
that's
that was my worry. That was my anxiety there now. I want to get home. And the only way I could get home is that 3 o'clock deadline. And they understood that. And they had no bed for me. So we were in a catch-22 situation here now. What are we going to do? And I know they didn't want to let me leave. They were, you know, they would have liked me to stay longer. But it was me setting the deadline really for the bus, and if I hadn't done that, I would have had to stay another night in a hotel, right? So and that would have been, you know, now in my stress situation, I would have to go booking a hotel and finding a hotel and etc. You know, because I hadn't booked one at that stage, or maybe get a taxi from Sligo back home in my stressful situation. That would have cost me something.
Well, a couple hundred, 300 quid. See, it's just some people would see it sort of as a health tax, you know, a geography tax, in that, you know, if you're from Sligo or Mayo or Leitrim, you know, these services are very, very local to you. But obviously you're in North Donegal, and you have to go from one bus to another in taxis and all that type of stuff. It's an interesting insight, Tony. Fair play to you anyway for getting home safe.
Yeah, but it wasn't an isolated incident.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm not just an isolated incident, you know. I never thought I'd find myself in that situation, but I was on a bus, the John McGinley bus to Dublin one time from Buncrana, and there was a man distressed further up the bus, and I could see it. And when we stopped in Monaghan for the comfort stop, you know, I approached him, and he wasn't able to talk to me. He was so stressed. And when he got off at Dublin Airport, I got off as well, and I spoke to him, and we walked towards the terminal. And I said, are you travelling out? Are you flying? And he said, oh, no, I'm going in here to sit on a bench all night because I've got an early appointment in Beaumont Hospital in the morning for cancer care. And he pulled up his trouser leg when we sat down to have a cup of hot chocolate, and he showed me his wound. I was horrified on his leg, the open wound. And that poor man, you know, at the same age as myself, about that. I said, why didn't you reschedule for another later in the day? Why, you know? And he said, I didn't want to because they might have put me at the bottom of a list.
So his plan, his plan. It sounds like he was from Donegal. His plan was to. Yeah. He actually had planned to go down on the bus, get off at the airport, sleep overnight in the airport because obviously he could blend in with travellers. That was his plan.
Yeah.
And then make his way for an early appointment in Beaumont the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's horrendous, Tony. And no one's going to admit to that because you might feel a little embarrassed to do so. It's only the fact that we can sort of hear it third hand from you.
Well, actually, Greg, I know you get so many calls about so many issues, and you had, you know, Dr. Ciara Steele on yesterday talking about it, and we're all with her on this, and Rosina Doherty Toner, you know, her a campaign outside the hospital for better cancer care. But you know, I was so incensed. I spoke to Highland Radio about this at the time, and thankful to them for airing it. But you know, nothing seems to change. I rang Beaumont Hospital to make that complaint. Why couldn't you reschedule so that he could get the bus and be in Dublin Airport, say at 12 o'clock, and that next day, and then make his later appointment? So that would have worked. But you know, I complained to the hospital on his behalf, not mentioning his name, and they put me onto a PR company to discuss it.
Wow.
So
do you think
you
then
know,
there
this,
should be? I mean, firstly, there's a complication with later appointments if you go to Galway, for an example, because you can't get home, or Sligo for that matter. But I just wonder if there should be, more flexibility for people from the northwest travelling these great distances. In other words, it's the responsibility of the hospital to take into consideration where we're travelling from, and at that time offer more flexible times, because we're already disadvantaged by having to travel great distance. Maybe they could work with us and say, we understand, by the way, from our notes that you're coming from Donegal. With that in mind, would a 2:30 appointment suit you better than an 8:30 appointment? Now, maybe someone's got a hotel room and the 8:30 suits them, but, to offer that flexibility given people's geographical removal from the location of the hospital.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen. But these are simple things that you think could happen.
The system is so chunky; it can't be flexible. When I've been attending Sligo on numerous occasions with getting different parts dealt with, different spots on the head and so on the rest of my body, and I have asked them about this situation to schedule me earlier, the first patient in, please, because I have to get the bus at 3:00. This is a regular thing. And they're unable to do it. And the next minute they get the letter again, and it's a later date, a later time on that day. And I just ignore that and go in, and the medical staff are great. I explain it to them that I have to get that 3:00 bus, and they said, "Oh, it's okay. You can take you in first."
You're unique, I think, Tony, in that you're a very obviously strong advocate for yourself. Yeah, a lot of us wouldn't. It's like that guy that went down to Dublin. He's fearful that if he takes on the system, he gets bumped to the bottom of the list. You know what I mean? You've experienced, you understand that. So just to be clear, there's no way for you to get back from Sligo to Buncrana on public transport after 3:00. 3:00 is the last bus.
Is the last bus out of Sligo that I can possibly take, so that I can get home. Yes.
Right. Okay. And that's because
I could.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Because I could go on to Derry, and then get the McGonigal bus back to Buncrana. Yes, that's possible.
Well,
actually,
anything's possible, Tony, but it doesn't mean it's realistic. Yeah. Okay.
I haven't done it, but I did the math, and it looked like it was possible.
Well, you could get a bus to Dublin. You could get a bus to Burton Port, head out in the Blue Ferry to Moor, get the next one back, and then get an. I mean, you could do it, but it doesn't mean it's the thing you would do. To have to go to Derry and then loop back up the peninsula on a second bus would make no. I mean, it's possible, but that's not really a service.
You would beat the clock. You would just about beat the clock at the last bus out of Derry to Buncrana. Actually, is 6:10. So you would make that one, and you could make the one from Letterkenny to Buncrana that is at 17:40, 20 minutes to 6. So I made that one, but you see, whenever you get out at Letterkenny, you're able to go to the toilet, and I was able to go into Mr. Chippy and get a wrap, and it was beautiful.
Lovely.
And the only trouble is, when I started to munch on it, there was more blood coming. So, and I was hungry because I hadn't eaten from the night before, and so you know what I mean.
There's a lot of people who probably saw you that evening, wondering what was going on, and they're listening now and thinking, "Oh, it all makes sense now." This man bleeding from the head, eating a wrap. All right.
And actually, I got a little treat actually, because they had olive oil that they could, and I normally request that. That's why one of the reasons why I'm healthy is because I do my best to keep myself fit and healthy, and I try to stay out of hospitals, and so I'm still winning. But there you are. It's catching up. It's age. It's older. Being older, you're more likely to find yourself in hospital with for cancer care, etc. Other things. I mean, Rosina Doherty, she is much more, more treatment. 2 years of treatment for cancer. I've never met this lady, but she has another campaign on Saturday, the 26th at 9 a.m. And another protest outside the hospital I hope to get to at 9 a.m. That's if the bus from Buncrana can get me up there by 9 a.m. I'm not too sure. I'll have to check.
Oh, maybe someone's heading up or organising a bus. It would be great. There was a great Buncrana Inishowen turnout supporting Rosina. The last day, I was disappointed at the general support for that. I think, and it's not that I'm sort of saying people should protest at the hospital, don't get me wrong, but I know a lot of people would share her views. So if you do, you need to get out and support them wherever you are in the county. Because I think a lot of people were supporting the lady rather than the issue the last time out, which I can understand because she's very impressive. But if people are concerned about cancer services at Letterkenny University Hospital, they probably do need to attend that protest on the 26th. Local link apparently leave Letterkenny at 10 p.m, going to Buncrana for 10:45. I don't know if you knew about that or if that might help.
Sorry, but
local link leave Letterkenny at 10 p.m. to arrive at in Buncrana at 10:45. I'm told.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Gee.
Hey, listen. That's why.
I must check that out.
Check it out because double check it. Don't take my word for it. But it just might help into the future, and hopefully you don't. Hopefully that's the end of it now for you, Tony.
Thank you, Greg.
You're not up and down. Lovely to chat to you, Tony.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Have a great day and
continue
good health to you.
Imagine what you could do with €20,000 to refresh your living space. Highland Radio and Foy's are giving you the chance to transform your home with a €10,000 home makeover draw, plus €10,000 in cash. Get your tickets now at highlandradio.com for a chance to make your dream home a reality.
Are you looking for a flexible, affordable home improvement loan for your dream kitchen, bedroom or bathroom? At B&S Credit Union, we are here to help. Our competitive Renovate loan is now available for loans up to €70,000. Visit our website at bnscu.ie or free phone 1800 290 390, where our dedicated and experienced loans team will be delighted to help you. Loans are subject to approval, terms and conditions apply. B&S Credit Union Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Go full Lidl and find everything you need for the perfect Easter dinner. Fresh from Wexford, our tender Board B approved Irish whole lamb leg is sure to be the star of your roast. 30% off, now $7.69 per kilo. Proudly supporting Irish suppliers. Shop without compromise. Go full Lidl this Easter.
For self-builders creating the home of their dreams, Callahan's Electrical is your trusted partner. We offer quality brands like Samsung, Neff, Rangemaster, Bosch and AGA. When self-building, think Callahan's Electrical. Visit us in Letterkenny or Burt. Callahan's Electrical, where quality meets commitment.
Hello, I'm David Foley, medical herbalist. Are you suffering with stress, anxiety, insomnia? Then ask for Irish Botanica Peace and Calm, a traditional herbal remedy. Irish Botanica Peace and Calm has a naturally relaxing effect, ideal for stress, insomnia, jet lag, and pre-exam anxiety. Call us a natural way, Letterkenny Shopping Centre for more information.
Get the right tools or equipment to get any job sorted with the great weekend deal at Watson Hire in Letterkenny. Hire any tools or equipment on a Friday for 1 day and they're yours to use until Monday. 3 days hire for the price of one at Watson Hire every weekend. Get the job done and dusted with this great weekend hire deal at Watson Hire Lisnanen in Letterkenny. Call 916-7777 or see watsonhire.ie.
You'll be aware, I think, the Association of Garda Sergeants and Inspectors is holding its annual conference in Killarney in County Kerry this week. Declan Higgins is president of the AGSI. He joins us now. Thank you, Declan. I do appreciate your time and good morning to you.
Not at all. Thank you, Greg, and thanks for your listenership.
Yeah, now, there's lots of issues, but one, of course, that seems particularly relevant to us is this new policing model that's being rolled out. What concerns might the AGSI have with it?
Yes, as you said, there's a number of issues we're discussing here today, and very high in it is the industrial relation issues between ourselves and Garda management and the government and the Department of Justice. And one of the issues that we are discussing is very high in our agenda is in relation to the operating model. which has been brought in across the country. In particular for yourselves up in Donegal, you're one of the last divisions in the country where this has been brought into. And just to give a quick bit of background to it, like this all stems from a report into the future of policing that was done in Ireland a number of years ago. And it did recommend that there should be restructuring within Garda Síochána to take a lot of the bureaucracy and whatnot off the Gardaí, moving on to civil servants and to put in restructures of reporting and whatnot. And in theory, this is all very good, and it went ahead. And Drew Harris was brought in as commissioner, and one of his main goals was to bring this in the country, or his mandate, I would say. And this has been done. And in places it is successful. It is working in areas. However, we are finding that due to falling resources across the country, the growing population in the country, but also issues within the actual plans that they had themselves and the models they had drawn up, we're finding there is deficiencies, there is faults, and there is problems. And highest amongst those would be the movement of resources from more rural stations into the more urban hubs, where policing has been centralised out of the busier areas, and actually the policing is done from those busier areas, where cars are then sent out into the more rural areas, which before this would have had resourcing locally in their local Garda stations. But this is, as I said, has been pulled away from them. Also, the size of some of these divisions, like Neola, Confrongford, Roscommon, are just absolutely enormous, and really they are unworkable. So our point is that while the change and review is good in itself, and bringing in a new model it can be good, and there is positives to it, the Garda management is completely failing to stop and review it, just to see where it is falling down. And this is coming from our membership, that they are under severe stress because they are finding these problems, that they don't have the resources to do the job anymore like they used to, or even to do it properly. And management will not listen to us.
Is it urban areas, Declan? Is it urban areas where this model is more likely to be successful?
I would agree with that statement at first, but I think in a whole, it's not serving the urban areas fully either.
So what areas all benefit from it then, Declan?
I'd say the one areas that it has worked for, it has reduced the amount of paperwork and ordinary administrative work that has been moved away from Garda Síochána. Now, I will highlight that it has been replaced with an awful lot of other oversight and bureaucracy work that a lot of our members are now. They're still stuck to desks, let's be quite clear of it, especially members of our ranks. That's been the sergeant inspectors. But the problem is, as I said, these resources are being pulled into the urban areas, but they are then being dispatched from those areas back into the more rural areas to deal with the calls. So it's not as if all these extra resources are in the larger towns and are there available for policing in the larger towns. They're actually being sent out. So they're spending as much time travelling between the calls than they are actually dealing with the calls.
See, the problem about that is, especially here in Donegal, because we've got the sea to our left and the challenges faced in policing that, but we've got a border on our right that runs all the way down effectively to Bundoran. And it's not just us, and it's not just the AJSI, and it's not just the GRA that know where the gaps are. Criminals know where the gaps are. But you talk about policing in urban areas. There's no police on the streets of Buncrana or Letterkenny or Glenties or Ballyshannon where the HQs are. So they're not on the streets there, because we're hearing those complaints. We don't see the cars out in rural Donegal. So, and the guards are there. So, and our calls, by the way, when we call 999, are being answered in Galway effectively. So where are the guards then to do the policing? Are they? What are they doing if they're not out and about? I know they are out and about, but in the numbers that we'd have been more familiar with, Declan.
Well, absolutely, and that goes back to my point. The guards are being based into the urban areas, but they're being dispatched outwards into the larger urban areas. So when the call comes in, the call will be answered, the call will be responded to. However, the car that is responding to that call is probably travelling a very large distance to get to you, because they're coming from the larger urban areas like Letterkenny, but they have to travel all the way out to where the call is.
I thought
so
we were sold that policing.
They're not walking on the street, they're driving in the car trying to get to the call, you see.
Okay, Declan, sorry to cut across you there, I didn't mean to, but my understanding when this was first being floated is that rather than sitting in stations, these patrol cars would be out and about and better positioned to respond to calls and to be more visible. I mean, that's what people explained to me on this programme was going to happen, but obviously that's clearly not happening because, you're saying it isn't, and we're not seeing it either, for that matter.
Yes, I think the evidence is clear there for people, for everyone to see, and that is exactly the point, Greg, that we're trying to highlight, is that if there's part of the model that isn't working, like the actual resourcing and the frontline policing, well, please stop forcing it in, stop it, examine it, see what the problems are, and see how we can rectify it before we keep pushing it forward. And I will give you an example, and falling resources does have a lot to do with this. We have to be frank about that. But when the operating model was first coming into divisions, management clearly told us you needed about, I think it was around 20 to 22 inspectors in a division to bring this in, because a lot of the work has moved on to the inspector rank. Up in Donegal now, and they're talking about introducing the operating model, they're now saying that you only need about 15, 16 inspectors to do it. And our point is, well, hang on, how come it was a couple of years ago you needed at least 20, and now you're saying this is the new number and it's reducing, and yet the workload isn't changing? That doesn't make sense to us. And we believe that what they're trying to do is just trying to force in the final parts of this change, so people can stand up and say we've done our job, we finished here, and walk away. And we don't think that is serving the communities, and it's certainly not serving in Garda Síochána.
There is a sense
and that's why we're saying stop, review.
There is a sense too that the policing in this country is being run to chase the headlines. In other words, the Dublin media is, and I don't mean that disparaging, the Dublin media is pretty quiet about policing at the moment because there's quite a few Gardaí walking the streets of Dublin, and that's what you read. That's because a lot of resources are being sent to Dublin. Do you get where I'm coming from here? Their sense is that once Dublin's okay, the Northwest will be okay, because a lot of our policing decisions seem reactionary.
Yes, I think reactionary there is a very important word to use there. And listen, politics always will get involved in resourcing and policing, but also, secondly, our theme of our conference down here the next couple of days is the business of policing versus policing as a business. And we believe what's also happened too over the last number of years is they've moved away from leadership being there and it's solely about police and how we best police. We've now moved into metrics, we've moved into charts, we've moved into statistics, we've moved into PowerPoint presentations, and that's not policing. And it doesn't, and you cannot get a clear picture of the situations within communities and on the ground using statistics. And if people are not reporting, and we hear this, certainly in Dublin and other areas, that people aren't reporting crime, so immediately your statistics are under question. However, that will never be spoken about.
All right.
And so I think that's where we're saying it's very important that both management and the government listen to, especially our association, because the sergeant inspectors, we're the glue that makes all the managerial policies work on the ground.
But just on that
but
point,
also,
if you don't
we
mind,
are the conduit.
Declan,
I just finished
go
the point,
ahead,
if you don't mind.
go ahead.
I think we're very important because we are the conduit that brings the information from the ground up to management and into government.
There are issues.
There
are issues in the health service or housing. There's a lot of issues in this country, but there's very few you don't hear nurses and consultants speaking out all the time about what's wrong in the health service and how it can be fixed, or even necessarily those in the building trade. Yet we have this situation where we have the GRA, the AGSI, very vocal on the ground. The people that are implementing some of these changes, speaking to a man and woman, saying, look, this isn't working, this is hindering how we can do our job, this is not a great use of resources. Yet time and time again we've got the Minister for Justice and a new Minister for Justice, and we've got the Garda Commissioner very clearly wanting a different way of doing things, sticking their feet in and saying we know best. What is actually going on? Why would it be so hard, or why is there resistance to at least listen and take on board the concerns from Garda representative associations?
Yeah, you have a number of points there, Craig, and it is a very good question. Firstly, on nurses, now that I have to say, I think that the nurses' unions are very, very strong, especially when you hear about the statistics and the figures and problems they have in their emergency departments and all that. So I do believe that the nurses are very strong in advocating too. But I think at times they have similar problems to ourselves where the people just aren't listening. The reason why the HSI and the GRA and the Gardaí can be so vocal about it, because I think it is because we are so invested in our work. We are part of those communities that we work in. And that really gets us invested into ensuring that the work we do is being done properly, and also it's serving our community, because they are our own families too. We take a call out to an elderly couple that might have an issue. We go out there, you're meeting your own parents, and you'd like to think that your own parents are receiving the same service you are giving to those people you're going out to the call to. And I think that's why we can be so vocal about it. And again, it's to emphasise, this is not for any increase in paying conditions for our membership or for ourselves. All we're looking for is to try and get the work that we're doing to work better for the communities. That's what we're seeking here.
Okay, two quickies if you don't
mind. And all we're
Declan.
asking for is, yep, absolutely.
Okay, Stop and Search. Jim O'Callaghan pushing through with these plans. It would seem, we know from looking at Britain, it works out bad for police, because it's police are at the front line. They're seen as the bad guys, certainly within certain communities, because then it starts talking about it's being targeted or there's profiling and all that kind of stuff. How concerned, if at all, or how supportive, in fact, are the AGSI for Gardaí to have greater stop and search powers?
Unfortunately, Craig, we haven't had sight of any details around that, so it's very hard to comment on it. We're always positive towards anything that will help us do our job better. I think I've got that point across already. But to be honest, to comment on something that we haven't had seen or sight of, I just can't comment on it.
No, I understand that, and that's fair. The one thing that did come up, and it's the last, I know you're busy, it's the last one, is concerns about Gardaí of all ranks being filmed in the course of their duty, citizen journalism, or whatever one might want to call it. I don't think the AGSI in its motion has sort of given a solution to this, because that's the problem, right? It's how you actually sort this out. What is there an agreement as what you would like to see done? Because there's concerns over Garda security and, of course, the security of their families, etc. But then there is also the right for people to film in public, providing they're not breaking the law or otherwise. Does the AGSI have a solution to this?
Solutions, I think, first, I'm going to break that into two parts. Firstly, for the examples you give, the citizen journalist and whatnot, and following members around and all that is very hard one and to come up with a solution for, and we don't have a solution to that. But I do think the conversation needs to be had now and have it early, so we can start building towards solutions with that. But in your question, you made a very point part is where the people aren't really breaking any laws or they're not pushing beyond any boundaries. It's how we handle that. We can start a discussion on that. But more worryingly, we have issues where they are beginning to cross those lines, and we have a member of our own association down here in the southwest who actually had to go to court herself and take a person and get a court injunction against a person that was it's just short of being criminal harassment, to be quite honest with you. And yes, she had to pay her own money to do that. Now, that is a serious issue, and that we believe we can deal with. And that's where we'll be calling on the Commissioner to set up some kind of unit or something within An Garda Síochána where members who believe that lines are being crossed can report this into and start dealing with it head on straight away immediately and not let it escalate.
Yeah, fair rules of
there is nothing in place.
Fair rules of engagement. Fair rules of engagement really, I think, is the middle ground there. You know, what steps across a line, but there does have to be a line. Okay, Declan, thanks so much for your time. I do appreciate it. Sorry, I bumped in a couple of times because I was so keen to get to everything there, but you
not at all. We're all under time pressure.
All right, thanks, Declan. Declan Higgins, President of the AGSI.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated 40 million euro. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Hall Lifford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor? With a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, the Hall Lifford.
With more routes nationwide, your TFI Local Link bus service provides connection to the wider Transport for Ireland public transport network. Save up to 30% when you use your TFI Leap card on TFI Local Link services. For route and timetable information, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're Transport for you.
Celebrate Easter with a feast from Dunnes Stores. Serve up show-stopping Board Bia quality assured meats like a 2.4 kilo sage and onion stuffed Irish chicken or a succulent boned and rolled ham. Perfect paired with delicious sides like cauliflower cheese and honey roasted carrots and parsnips, 2 for $5.50. Plus, you'll be a happy bunny when you save at the till with a 10 off 50 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used to next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Discover trending new styles each week in fashion, footwear, accessories, homeware and more. Visit us to explore the latest arrivals in store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
The west of the country getting the better weather this last wee while. It's continuing today and tomorrow as well. A dry start this morning, albeit a little cloudy, but sunny spells will develop later. A touch more high cloud will push in later, but it will remain dry. Highest temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees. Coming up after 10 o'clock, of course, we've got this Tuesday's edition of Community Garda Information. So stay tuned where you hear the appeals and information from An Garda Síochána first here on the 9 till noon show. For me, the best Irish sports person ever would be Packy Bonar. He certainly, for people of a generation, evokes some of the greatest memories. Is he the greatest ever? So he's got a good shout. Culla says, I think the Rory McIlroy hype is a distraction from bad government locally and nationally. It's a distraction for us. We have to distract ourselves sometimes and think about other things and watch other things and give priority to other things. We can't allow ourselves to be just constantly in a state of despair. There is a lot in the world to be positive about, a lot in this area to be positive about, and sport brings a lot of that positivity. There has to be space to say, right, there's an issue needs looking at, but hey, there's something to be happy about and get a balance in life. And I think that's what a lot of us are doing with the sports stories. Some of the comments about Rory on social media are shocking, saying he's a Brit. Have we really not moved on from that? Surely a win for Rory is a win for all of us. If sport doesn't unite us, what will? He himself, I think, did at one point say he felt more British than Irish, which for some people that just goes a little bit too far for them to back him then. But maybe sport should supersede all of that. But he did get involved in the politics, didn't he? So he's going to pee a few people off. Rightio, that's the first hour of Tuesday's show in the bag. It's a little bit of a shorter week because we're off on Good Fridays. So we've got the Friday panel on a Thursday, the Thursday panel. But anyway, it's Tuesday. We'll focus on that. We'll take a break for the news and obituary notices, have a listen, and then rejoin us, and we'll have Community Garda Information.
It's not just that Ilma and Julio's crops have been destroyed by extreme floods and drought. It's not just that this has happened again and again. It's not just that fear for their children's future grows greater every day. Climate change is pushing families in Guatemala further into poverty. And it's not just. Please support the Trócaire Box appeal this Lent, because for these families, it's not just a box, it's a lifeline. Give what you can. Call 1-800-408-408 or visit trócaire.org. Trócaire, together for a just world.
This Easter at Screwfix, grab the DeWalt 18-volt brushless impact driver bare unit for just $69.95. Plus save €25 on the Titan 140 bar pressure washer, now only $99.95. For more Easter deals, shop online and in-store today. Hurry, deals must end 21st of April. Subject to availability. See screwfix.ie for full T's and C's.
Get ready, Aaron Moore. Roar by the Foreshore is back Thursday the 17th of April from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. on Aaron Moore Island. Join DLDC's Active Aaron Moore for an afternoon of live music, beach games, a sizzling barbecue, sea dips, kayaking and much more, all free and suitable for all ages. With Highland Radio linking live from Aaron Moore, you won't want to miss the celebration of community well-being and island life. Mark your calendar, Thursday the 17th of April, and come roar by the foreshore. Visit dldc.org or find Active Aaron Moore on Facebook for more information. supported by empowering communities.
Ensure the safety of your team with SafeTech. We have part-funded courses in first aid, people moving and handling, confined spaces, food hygiene, quad bikes, fire warden, IPAF MUPS, electrofusion, welding and machinery cards for Ireland and UK sites. Also delivering online courses like utilities, water hygiene and construction supervisors. SafeTech can deliver group training at your business premises. To find out more, contact safetech.ie today.
With Circle K Extra, save up to 3 cents per litre on fuel every time you fill up. Download the Circle K app today and start saving.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. A county councillor says that Donegal County Council is missing out on some opportunities to remove social homes with defective concrete from their records. Councillor Ali Farron says he knows of one man who is aware of the condition of one such home and is looking to buy it regardless. However, the council won't sell it, as its policy is not to sell houses that are suspected of having defective blocks. Councillor Farron says this is one way of reducing the number of houses the council needs to repair, and it should be given more serious consideration.
These people are sensible people, know what's entailed and willing to sign a legal disclaimer that they will not be taking a case against the council. Now, there might have been decisions made before we joined the council, probably legal discussions, but every day is a new day, and there's families out there who want to get on with living, and the council are stalling on that.
Well, the councillor says more planning is needed to ensure that when a scheme to remediate defective concrete in social homes is agreed, Donegal County Council is ready to act. As it stands, it's estimated that at least 1,800 social homes will need to be remediated. At present, only 81 of those are currently vacant, with planning needed for demolition in many of those cases. Councillor Declan Meehan says that figure is not enough, and it's time for the council to bring in modular homes and start preparing.
We need a more ambitious plan, and there's absolutely no way that we can meaningfully tackle this problem without exploring all options, such as a centralised or multiple localised locations of modular homes. If we have 81 houses that are currently vacant, but we can only actually look at 26 of them, then those other 55 homes would be better off being put into modular homes. We can start with the full 81 as an example. We need to put forward proposals that are strong and robust, that tackle this issue and meet people's needs.
A man in his 30s has died after he was stabbed in County Cork. Gardaí are questioning another man in connection with the knife attack in Youghal late last night. With more, here's Kelly Murphy.
Gardaí and emergency services were alerted to the incident after a row broke out between two men at a pub on North Main Street in Youghal at around 10 to 10 last night. A man in his 30s was taken to Cork University Hospital to receive treatment for serious injuries and was pronounced dead a short time later. A man in his 20s has been arrested in connection with the fatal assault and is currently being detained. An incident room has been established at Middleton Garda Station, while a family liaison officer has been appointed to support the family of the man who died. Gardaí are appealing to anyone who may have witnessed the incident to come forward.
The Taoiseach is reassuring J1 students they will be safe in America once they obey the country's laws. It comes amid concerns over students getting involved in protests such as pro-Palestinian marches while on their summer visa. The Trump administration says it's stripped around 300 student visas. Taoiseach Simon Harris is reassuring parents and students about their upcoming J1s.
And many people do ask that question. They see scenes in America in terms of protest, in terms of Palestinian protest, and I suppose that does make people think again in relation to this. My advice to people would be that Ireland and the United States have a long and enduring relationship. Many people from the US come to Ireland and they're very welcome. Many Irish people travel to the US on holidays, on student exchanges, and I know they're very welcome too.
Meta will start notifying people of plans to update its A1 models from today. The company behind Facebook and Instagram will use public posts on its platforms to train its artificial intelligence models. Users will be presented with the opportunity to opt out of the process. The host of the For Tech's Sake podcast is Elaine Burke. She's been examining how the data will be used.
It can mean that it's part of a very, very large data set that then can be used for image generation. It also might mean other things, Meta essentially is an advertising business, and how it wants to use AI in that case means that it might just be trying to learn things about you, about users like you.
Weather forecast. Sunny spells developing as the morning goes on. A touch more high cloud will push later, but it will remain dry. Top temperatures 9 to 11 degrees Celsius in northwesterly breezes. Tonight a mix of cloud and some clear spells, but it will again stay mostly dry. Northwesterly breezes and lowest temperatures of 1 to 3. Sunny spells and scattered cloud to begin with tomorrow with plenty of dry weather. Becoming cloudy later with highest temperatures 9 to 11. Again, northwesterly breezes. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines at 11. Check all the day's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Tuesday morning, April 15th. The death has taken place of Kathleen Kirkland, Ballylosky, Carndonagh. Kathleen's remains are reposing at her home in Ballylosky, Carndonagh. Removal from there on Holy Thursday afternoon to the Sacred Heart Church, Carndonagh at 12:30 for 1 p.m. funeral liturgy, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. A funeral mass will then take place for Kathleen at 11 a.m. on Monday at the Sacred Heart Church, Carndonagh. Kathleen's funeral liturgy and funeral mass can be viewed live on the parish webcam. Family time please from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Palliative Care Unit, Carndonagh Community Hospital, care of any family member or Kelly's funeral directors. The death has occurred of Bella McClafferty, Larga Killybegs, reposing at her late residence from 10 a.m. today and tomorrow. Removal on Thursday morning at 10:30 to St Mary's of the Visitation Church, Killybegs, for 11 a.m. funeral mass. Burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Mass will be streamed on mcn.live. The death has taken place of John Conahan, Whitehill, Churchill, reposing at his daughter Philomena's residence, 33 Glencar Park, Letterkenny. Funeral from there tomorrow morning for Requiem Mass in St Columkille's Church, Glendown at 11 a.m, followed by interment in Garton Cemetery. Family time from 11 p.m. tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. Funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Maureen Conley, née Cresson, 57 Peacock Road, Sign Mills, and formerly of Isle of Sheppey, Kent, reposing at her home. Funeral leaving her home tomorrow morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass in St Teresa's Church, Sign Mills at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time please from 10 o'clock tonight. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Tessie McGrath, 4 Ornray Drive, Strabane, and formerly of Ballyfatton, reposing at her home. Family time this morning, please. Funeral leaving there this morning at 11:25 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 12 noon. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to the Foyle Hospice care of Quigley's funeral directors. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Myra Kirk, née Callahan, 2 Tullymoon Road, Clady, formerly of Sign Mills. Funeral leaving her home this morning at 11:15 for Requiem Mass in St Columba's Church, Doneylip at 12 noon. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. House private please. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Cormac McMonigal, Mina Goland, Clohan. Cormac is reposing at his home. Requiem Mass in St Columkille's Chapel, Fintown today at midday, with burial afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. Funeral Mass can be viewed on Chack Fibble Columkill Facebook page. Family time before the funeral this morning, please. The death has occurred of Eileen McGonigal, Chapel, Glen Clonmany. Remains are reposing at the family home. Wake is private to family and close friends at the request of the deceased pleased. Funeral from there this morning at 11:20, going to St Mary's Church, Clonmany for Requiem Mass at 11 a.m, followed by cremation at Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan at 5 o'clock. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or McFeely funeral directors. Eileen's funeral mass can be viewed live via churchservices.tv. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
The gas part about Flowgas is that we do fixed electricity rates for businesses. And what's even more gas is we do solar panels and EV charging for businesses too. So switch today at flowgas.ie/business or call 041 214 9555. because the gas part is only part of it. Flowgas, energy for everyone. Terms and conditions apply. Visit flowgas.ie.
Welcome back to the second hour of the 9 till noon show. Good morning if you have just tuned in. Great to have you on board. Morning, Greg. Yeah, I agree. The knives don't do the killing. It's the guy holding it. I can't understand the UK banning these zombie knives, etc., when you can walk into a shop and buy an enormous kitchen knives. The knives are the problem. The knives are not the problem. It's the perpetrator, they say. In relation to policing, the bigger picture here is the Gardaí are just not in line with Drew Harris's plans, and hence they're fighting everything. So you saying, are you, that on the ground Gardaí are frustrating his plans, and if they fully embrace them, that it would be a better policing model and might work better? I think that's what you're saying. Hello, Greg. Did anyone see RTE news regarding New Lewis and the new train station open in Dublin? However, we're still looking for a railway link in the northwest. We don't hear anything on this or push for this to happen in this day and age. Shocking. We don't have a rail link, considering we've a lot of people working in Dublin, students at college and tourism that comes to visit our county. It is something we discuss extensively on this programme, and I'm not being defensive in relation to that. Just in case you do miss it, I think we must talk about a rail link at least once a month, if not sometimes twice a month. Listening to that man talking, this was Tony. I once travelled with my 9-year-old son who had a brain tumour to Temple Street for a checkup. An updated scan had been sent from Letterkenny Hospital to Temple Street. They couldn't find it, so they sent us home again and rescheduled it for a fortnight later. It turned out the scan had been put into the wrong surgeon's pigeonhole. No consideration for distance travelled whatsoever. No one takes into consideration the distance Donegal patients have to travel, and the caller believes that is outrageous. What a lovely man you've on there this morning talking. Best wishes to you, Tony. Indeed, Tony come across as a very caring, engaging person. McGinley's bus leaves Dublin at 5:30, brings you direct to Buncrana around 10 p.m. Tony was travelling from Sligo, but thanks very much for that. Well done, Greg, for highlighting Rosina's protest. We are not just supporting her, but the issue, which is cancer. Yes, and I hope, shall I reiterate those comments? There was a strong contingent from Rosina's area at the last protest. And my point being is that, of course, the people there also are interested in cancer services. But I think also that was a personal turnout because people are so moved and touched and supportive of Rosina. And I was simply saying that if people do have an issue with the level of cancer services in Donegal, in Letterkenny University Hospital, then you could best exercise those on Saturday the 26th. I'm not questioning the motives of those that were there. I'm just saying, you know, there could have been more people from Letterkenny, Dunlow, Inishowen, not Inishowen, sorry, you know, Killigordon, etc., and Inishowen. Right. Let us see some of those things that you've come across in your food, because there's been a major increase in complaints to the Food Safety Authority, and some of it's about stuff that's found in food, and I probably mentioned it while people were eating their cornflakes. My apologies, but anyway, some of people's experiences. I was eating a burger from a well-known chain. All of a sudden, a sharp pain in my gum. I thought there was a piece of glass on it. Opened the burger, and there was half a wasp dead, obviously. The other half swallowed by me. Oh, my word. I found a human tooth in a bar of Kit Kat, says James and Ardra. I have to check some of these that no one's taken the hand. A human tooth in a bar of Kit Kat. James, did he complain? A cigarette butt and a slice of bread. Oh, disgusting. When I was a child, I found a wedding ring in a barn brack at Halloween. In fact, I found one several times. Very careless in the bakery back then. Well, it wouldn't happen these days, would it? Health and safety. Can you still put stuff in barn brack now? Someone might sue them if you did. I'm sure you can. Or can you? Greg, I'm having my cereal. I'm getting sick now. Do you have to read about maggots and spiders? I'm so sorry. I should have realised. Now, a couple of different things just as we head towards the break. Greg, can I get a huge appreciation for the team in day services in Letterkenny University Hospital? They looked after my son yesterday who got some teeth out. They were just amazing. He has an issue with people in white coats, and when I requested that no one be in white coats, they had no problem in accommodating it. Isn't that lovely? So that's someone's positive experience in day services there. And fair play to the staff. They knew the young lad had a bit of white coat syndrome, which many of us had, and they took the coats off to make it pass as smoothly as possible. Join us this Friday night at the Clonmany Community Centre for a special Tug of War fundraiser in aid of our first responders. Weigh-in starts at 6 p.m. with the first pull at 7 p.m. Teams will go to head in 400 kilogram and 500 kilogram weight classes. Novice competition also on the night. Refreshments available. Admission €10. Children are free. Something different for Friday night. Can you say a happy 70th birthday to my wonderful mum, Maureen Harley, today? I know she'll be listening from Breen and family. That was for the breakfast show. Hopefully she's still listening now. Happy 70th birthday to you, Maureen, from Breen and family. Please play a request for Corey Gallagher celebrating a birthday today. Corey's working in Blades Barbers Elite Letterkenny from Nana and Granda in Tober. Corey, happy birthday. I hope you have us on in Blades Barbers Elite Letterkenny. And could you play a request for the 8 girls and their mothers who are travelling to Dublin to fly to Belgium to do Irish dancing in the World Champions? The girls are all from Fanad. Wish them good luck and hope they have a great time from a very proud granny. Thank you, Greg. And Granny, if you don't mind, let us know how the girls got on. Because what an amazing experience for them. Would they be nervous or just full of joy and excitement? Young people are so confident. A lot of young people are so confident now, and they go over and do amazing stuff representing their country and county. Very exciting. Okay, let us know, Granny, how they get on. Hopefully they are successful there. I'm sure they will be.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday, April 15th. Playing on a brown sheet. Reference number is S17. It's week 16. Today's numbers are 38, 80, 4, 66, 76, 61, 51, 62, 72 and 74. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
If your dog attacks someone on your street, it's not your dog's fault. If your dog bites a child and disfigures them for life, it's not your dog's fault. So, wherever they are, keep them under control at all times. Because whatever they do, it's not your dog's fault. It's yours.
Your dog is your responsibility. Visit gov.ie/dogs to find out more. A message from the Government of Ireland.
Renovating or rebuilding? Struggling to find the perfect tiles? McCafferty's Tiles Ballbuffet has you covered. We've got stunning large format and designer tiles, expert installations, and even a free design consultation in our showrooms or at your site. Call McCafferty Tiles on 086 242 3604 or find us on socials. Showroom by appointment.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out shaneconleycars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
The Community Garda information slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, monitoring homes and businesses in the northwest for intruder, fire, panic and medical signals. Call Sheridan Security on 91 26025.
18 minutes past 10 on Tuesday the 15th of April. Good morning, Garda Grania Doherty from the Letterkenny Garda Station. How are you keeping?
I'm doing the best.
Brilliant to
Morning
have you up.
Greg.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll start with some appeals, if that's okay. And first up, an aggravated burglary in Lifford, Grania.
Yes, Gardaí are investigating an aggravated burglary. This occurred at Cavsha Clunlee in Lifford at approximately 10:30 p.m. on Sunday the 13th of April. The front window of a property at that location was smashed by a man. He then gained entry to the premises, so nothing was stolen from within and no life-threatening injuries were sustained by anybody as a result of this incident. We're appealing to anybody who may have observed this man on foot in the area around that time to make contact with Gardaí in Letterkenny on 9167100. We're also, as always, appealing to road users who may have been in that area with a dash cam between 10:15 p.m. and 10:45 p.m. to make that footage available to us. And should anybody wish to contact the Garda Confidential line, they can be contacted on 1800 666 111 with any relevant information also.
Investigations ongoing into criminal damage in Letterkenny.
Yes, this incident occurred at a yard on the Neil T. Blaney Road in Letterkenny on the early hours of Sunday the 13th of April. In and around, it was 20 past midnight, in the early hours of the morning. So the fire services alerted Gardaí to the fact that a caravan was on fire at that location. They were at the scene. They extinguished the fire. The caravan was burnt out as a result. We're appealing to anybody who may have relevant information to contact Gardaí here in Letterkenny on 9167 100. And again, dashcam, as always, if anybody travelled along that route of the Neil T. Blaney Road between midnight and 20 past midnight, we're asking them to make that footage available to us.
Now, investigations ongoing into an assault at Upper Main Street in Letterkenny.
Yes, we're Gardaí in Letterkenny here are investigating this. An alleged assault, it's believed to have occurred at Upper Main Street, Letterkenny on Monday the 14th of April, just shortly before 10:40pm. A man was walking up the street, up Upper Main Street, and he's reported to have been assaulted by a group of males. Approximately 6 to 7 males were in this group. The man was taken to Letterkenny University Hospital to receive medical treatment. His injuries are not believed to be life-threatening in nature. We're appealing to anybody who may have witnessed this incident to contact Gardaí in Letterkenny on 9167 100 or the Garda Confidential line on 1800 666 111. And again, dash cam footage from that area. It's always invaluable to us as part of our investigations. If anybody travelled at Main Street last night between and around 10:40pm, and it would have been early enough on in the night, so hopefully, we're hopeful somebody may have witnessed this incident.
Yeah, we'd need to get to the bottom of that. And also too, an assault in Ballybuffet.
Yes, this is an alleged assault that occurred at Navanny Street in Ballybuffet on Friday the 11th of April at approximately 9pm, and again quite an early time of the night, so hopefully there may have been a bit of traffic around, or somebody may have witnessed this incident. A woman was walking down Navanny Street, so she was walking from the Main Street direction down Navanny Street, and she's believed to have been assaulted by 2 female teenagers. She didn't sustain any life-threatening injuries, thankfully, as a result of the incident. We're appealing to anybody who may have observed these 2 female teenagers on foot in the area of Navanny Street to make contact with Gardaí. If anybody, of course, witnessed the incident, we want to hear from them also. And again, dashcam footage. If anybody has that, we ask them to make that available to us. Gardaí in Letterkenny may be contacted on 9167 100 in connection with that incident. And the Garda Confidential line, of course.
Yeah, it's always there, of course. Now, Garda scam phone calls. They're clever enough. Again, I sound like I'm praising them. I'm not. But, people can be shocked into letting their guard down if they believe they're being contacted by a significant institution like An Garda Síochána or others.
Of course, yeah, and it's a shock factor that these scam artists want. The shock factor is how people fall victim to these scams. And we had an email that was in circulation for quite a while. We mentioned it a number of times.
That was purporting that it was something to do with child abuse images, which
exactly.
shock people into, well, I have to clear my name. I need to click this link to make sure they know that's not
exactly.
So,
and again, that's the shock factor that they're going for. So unfortunately now it's another type of scam. So we just want the public to be aware. We will never contact them by phone to allege that they have been engaged in any sort of criminal activity. We will never demand bank details or the payment of a fine over the phone. And we are aware of a current scam where a person receives a phone call. So now it's escalated from an email to a phone call. The caller claims to be from An Garda Síochána. The caller may say that they're investigating you for a crime, and they may also say that there's a warrant out for your arrest. The caller then demands that you provide your bank account details in order to pay this fine. So these calls can come from a variety of numbers, Irish mobile numbers or international numbers. These calls are entirely fraudulent, they're not real. We do not and we will not make contact with anybody who is under investigation by Gardaí in this way. So just our advice to help avoid becoming a victim of fraud or scams: don't respond to unsolicited calls or emails seeking personal, financial or security information. If you believe the call or email is from a genuine source, verify this independently of the person who made contact. So, for example, if you get a call, they say it's the Gardaí in Letterkenny, look up the number for Letterkenny Garda Station, contact the station directly yourself and ask to speak to whoever made the call, or ask to speak to a sergeant just to verify, if the call was genuine or not. Independently verify any requests for information and never use the contact details supplied to you in the fraudulent call or email. So if they give you a number to contact them back on, don't contact them back in that number. Verify the phone number off the Garda station and contact them.
And of course, a link in an email can be made to appear like it's legit. and you click it, and then you go to a third-party website where the fraud takes place. So don't click any links in emails or SMSs.
Yeah, don't click the links, because of course, and it has happened in many different types of scams, that if you click on a link, the page that opens up looks for all the world to be genuine, and you can be so easily fooled. You can fall victim to this very easily. So never, just the best advice is, as you said, don't ever click a link or attachment in an unsolicited email. So it is easy to fall victim to scams, to this type of scam or any type of scam, and we understand that. We don't want people to be embarrassed. If they have fallen victim to a scam, please come to us. Contact your bank if you have provided any financial, your bank details. Contact them first and foremost, and contact us then. And if anybody has fallen victim, we ask them to come to us, come to us so that we can help them.
Yeah, I've noticed that, with the pillar bank, say, for instance, if it's a one of those scams, the fraud departments are often very well staffed, and you do get through quite quickly. We can be frustrated with the press 1 for this, press 2 for that, but if you have the fraud numbers for your lenders or your card holders, you normally can get through quite quickly and get things sorted really quite quickly as well. And that's the easiest way. You make contact back with them and reference the concerns that you have.
Yeah, so I would say to prioritise that. If you have given financial details, either call one of the fraud helplines for your bank or go to the bank in person. Prioritise that to make sure that no funds will be taken from your account, then come to us after that.
Yeah, it is important to report it as a crime as well. Okay. Right, the annual Easter commemoration event's taking place in Stranorlar this coming Sunday. What should people note about that?
Yeah, so the annual Easter commemoration event, it takes place every year on Easter Sunday, so it's taking place in Stranorlar this Easter Sunday coming on the 20th of April. Traffic disruption may be expected in that area between approximately 1:30 to 5:30 that day. There will be local access only to Stranorlar Main Street during those times, and diversions will be in place. You will see guards out at certain points, and they will direct you. They'll show you the diversion route. We're just asking anybody who's intending on travelling through the Twin Towns, Ballybofey or Stranorlar on Easter Sunday coming, just to leave a little bit of extra time for their journey. Just be aware that this event is happening and that diversions will be in place.
Yeah, and in fairness, you have to be careful on them and take your time, but there are good ways around that space, in fairness. Right, okay, so we're heading now into another bank holiday weekend, a public holiday weekend, and the bottom line is we do these, and I think I said this to you ahead of the last one, because statistically we know that there are more dangerous times to be out and about, whether you're a walker, cyclist, out on a horse, towing a caravan, in a tractor, in a car, on a motorbike. There's far more traffic out at bank holiday weekends, and there's inherent dangers in that. So this is just, you never know how many people we might reach, whether it changes one person's behaviour and that person is around on Monday or Tuesday. That's what this is all about. I know it can sound a bit repetitive, but that's why we do it. So what's coming up? What should we take note of coming up for this public holiday weekend?
Well, as you say, look, the bank holiday weekends are always busier, and that's, the kids are off school, families go out, they maybe caravan, or they go, take a short break during the Easter holidays, so the roads will be busier. So as we approach this bank holiday weekend, a policing plan will be in place in order to protect people, their property, and just to ensure really that the roads are a safe place to be. So firstly, we're making our usual appeal, as we do ahead of every bank holiday weekend. We're, in relation to road safety, we're urging drivers to slow down, to look out for vulnerable road users, and to take regular breaks. If you're on a long journey, maybe you're travelling up or down the country for a few days for a break, just take regular breaks, to avoid fatigue.
Just in terms of the roads, if you don't mind, what's is frustrating really is that, and I'm not asking you to comment directly on this because you don't have advanced knowledge of it, but we've received quite a number of videos from dash cams of crazy driving, undertaking, speeding, just by the grace of God or luck or whatever it might be, no collisions has happened. And I would say there's people listening in every village and townland in this county that could identify 2 or 3 drivers that they say it's only a matter of time before something happens. And yet we all know it goes on, right? We all probably know the couple of bad drivers in our area, and you're just waiting for something to happen, and on it goes. And the fear of death or serious injury or apprehension, for certain people, it doesn't, Grania, unfortunately, seem to change their behaviour. No. And it's very frustrating, and I know it's frustrating for the guards.
Yeah, and look, we can't be everywhere. That's, we just can't be on every road across Donegal over the bank holiday weekend or any day of the week, any week of the month. So we are asking the public, and it's a good point you raise, we welcome When the public contact us and we ask them to do that this bank holiday weekend and every weekend, every day, while you're out in the roads, if you observe driving that you believe to be dangerous, please do report that matter to us, because we can't be everywhere.
I mean, you pass a pub at 10 o'clock at night and the car park's packed.
Yeah.
And you pass at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's not a car there.
Not a car there, yeah.
Like, is it all 0-0 they're drinking? Maybe everyone has a designated driver, or maybe drink and drug driving is as bad as it would appear from the detections. Do you know what I mean? But how did everyone get home?
Yeah, and we do regularly now receive calls from people who have concerns. Maybe they're in the pub, maybe they have seen somebody who they know has had a few drinks. They see them leaving, lifting the car keys of the bar and going. And we would, and thankfully we do have calls in relation. And then a car can be dispatched to that area, and we would ask people also to do that this weekend. And it's not... So I'm sure people feel apprehensive about doing that too, especially if they know the person. But at the same time, you could be saving that person or so many other people's lives on the road by stopping that driver.
I've spoken to taxi drivers and they get very nervous like between 12 and 3 because they're out as professional drivers and they see an awful lot. But as you say, a lot of people report and so they should. But anyway, sorry, I digressed a little bit there. It's just
okay.
We all know it's happening, and yet it all kind of just continues to happen, and I suppose the Gardaí do have to get notified of these things. Anyway, there are key things that we can be doing to best protect ourselves and our communities this weekend.
Yeah, and we would just wanted to say, and it's not here in the notes, but I just wanted to mention the Traffic Watch, the online reporting forum also this weekend and every day. Should you see driving that you believe to be dangerous, any sort of danger on the roads, if you believe that somebody's drink driving, they're driving under the influence of drugs, they're driving in a dangerous manner, contact the Garda station, of course. You're more than welcome to contact one of your local district headquarters. But there is an online forum also, Traffic Watch forum, and if anybody wants to go on to the garda.ie website, the Traffic Watch forum is there. It's an online forum. When you submit your report, it's not in relation to now urgent cases, so it would be not something that would require a Garda dispatch immediately. But if you observed what you believe to be an incident of dangerous driving, the car's now gone off into the distance, you can report online on that form.
I don't believe you can upload video or photos, which is unfortunate, I think, potentially.
No, but what happens is when you submit a report on the Traffic Watch online form, the superintendent then in charge of that local engagement area, they designate somebody to investigate that report and to engage with the complainant. So then that guard then would go to them, they would get their version of events, arrange to take a statement from them, they would gather information about any witnesses, and of course then dash cam footage would be seized by taken by them also as part of the investigation. And the person making the complaint would be kept up to date also with the outcome of the investigation. But you can, of course, always contact your local station too. And if you believe that the driving in question is of an urgent nature, contact 999 or 112.
Okay.
So
I mean, obviously, look, Gardaí know straight away when they turn up to a collision of seatbelts being worn, or whether how much speed is a factor, or whether drinking drugs are playing a factor here. If we eliminate those things, we greatly reduce fatalities on the road. That's just the way it is. Wearing your seatbelt, critically important. No doing snaps in the back of a car for people with no seatbelts on. Common sense stuff.
And this bank holiday weekend, members of An Garda Síochána, they will focus on the key lifesaver offences. You've named most of them there anyway. So these include speeding, drug driving, the non-wearing of seatbelts, and using a mobile phone while driving. So we're asking everybody, look, get a driver, get a designated driver before you go out for the night. Arrange a taxi maybe. Mobile phones, we mention that quite a lot, but also just any sort of device, anything that's going to take your distraction off the road. It could be an iPad, it could be whatever is going to take your mind off the road. Get it out of your way, put it in the glove compartment, turn it off. It won't kill you to put it away. Just put it away for your journey and look at it when you pull in.
And if you're out and about too, whether you're out walking or cycling, there's a lot of cycling activity on at the moment. A lot of people out walking, a lot of people walking with headphones on with noise cancelling, and they haven't a clue what's going on around them. We all have to be as responsible. It's a shared space, Gron, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and everybody has a responsibility. We would ask drivers to keep an eye out for vulnerable road users, pedestrians, motorcyclists. A lot of motorcyclists are out now at this time of year in this good spell of weather. Keep an eye out for motorcyclists, pedestrians, cyclists. And we would ask those categories as well to make sure that they can be seen, make sure that they have their high-vis gear on, and they have a responsibility also for their own safety on the road. So just make sure that you're seen when you're on the road.
Now, interesting. I'm not sure if I've seen this before, but it's about sort of personal security and personal property security. Some advice in relation to that, which feels a little bit different, Grania.
Yeah, well, look, we're going to have a lot of people also on the roads, but a lot of people will also be out socialising over the Easter bank holiday weekend. So we just want to issue some advice to them. Plan your night out. Tell somebody where you're going and when you'll be back. And as I said a second ago there, just book a taxi in advance or designate a driver. Look out for your friends. It's common sense, really. You know, don't let your friends or family members walk home alone. Make sure that they have a lift home. If they're leaving the nightclub or pub or whatever earlier than you, make sure that they have a lift, a taxi. There's safety in numbers. Don't let them walk alone. If you have to walk, stick to well-lit areas and make sure, again, that you can be seen by passing traffic. You know, carry a wee torch maybe in your bag and even a high-vis vest to put on your way home. Take care when carrying personal property, your handbag, smartphone, cash. This is a major one. Every weekend, without fail, we have people in the public office of the station that they lost their phone or they lost their handbag or lost. Mind your personal property when you're out.
How much of that do you think is misplacement and how much of it might be snatching?
I could say it could be a combination of both, and maybe just a misplaced item could then be lifted by somebody else, which would then turn into a theft incident, you know. So
of course, yeah.
Just in crowded areas, keep them in a safe location, keep your possessions within your view. And then watch out for pickpockets. They're out there too. Keep that in mind. Keep your handbag zipped. Don't keep your wallet in your back pocket. And in bars and restaurants, be careful where you store coats and handbags. And you often see people going around with the mobile phone hanging out of their jeans pocket at the back.
All the time.
Do you see that all the time? I mean, that's a risky thing to do. So make sure that it's even in the front pocket or zipped into a handbag. You know, don't have it on show.
Some of these, they're worth £1,400.
Of course they are, yeah. They're expensive items now. They're not like the old 088.
My 088, I have the same number since I got my very first phone, and I'd have been massive into technology, and I took out a stupid loan to get a mobile phone, but it cost to receive calls. It cost as well.
Oh yeah.
And it's my same number now, but there's an extra 9 in front of it. That's how early your adapter I was.
And do you remember getting the first 088 and you were so excited and you couldn't even text?
But I had no one. But I could text this one. Because it was quite expensive, stupidly expensive. I couldn't afford it. But no one else had a phone for me to text.
Oh, well.
I literally had Johnny No Mates, I know. And I was getting people to ring me to see if it would ring. But there was no one to ring me.
And there was nobody else with a phone for you.
It cost a fortune to ring it. And the guys could sit in a pub with the scanner listening to the 088 freaking analog signals as well. I'm sure some people remember that. But
well,
yeah.
they hadn't much to listen to if you had nobody to ring. That's the only thing.
Business picked up.
Yeah.
Also, obviously you talked about your local personal items, but I mean, you know, cars and vehicles as well. There's so often we hear of wing mirrors being kicked off, you know, or windows being smashed. You can help try and reduce that. Some of it's impossible to, right? But watch out where you're leaving your car.
Well, don't go to a dark area, really. A secluded area, if you can. Park in a well-lit area, somewhere that you're aware that maybe there's cameras on the street. You know, try and park sensibly. Don't keep cash, jewellery, anything of any worth in your car, especially on show within the car.
A reason to break the window.
It's just a red flag to have already.
To break the window.
Exactly, yeah. So Gardaí will be out in patrol. They'll be on the beat and out in the cars in many parts of Donegal this weekend. And our priority is to keep people safe on the roads and off the roads. Don't hesitate to contact us, is our message really. If you need our assistance, give us a call. And just on behalf of us all at Garda Síochána, I hope everybody at Highland Radio and your listeners have a very safe and a happy Easter.
Don't try and suck up to us now after all of that.
If I was sucking up, I would have brought you an Easter egg.
Have you seen the price of them? Cocoa beans are through the roof. Grania, listen, have a wonderful Easter yourself, and we'll speak to you really, really soon. That was Garda Grania Doherty from the Letterkenny Garda Station for Community Garda Information. You'll be able to listen and watch that back a little later on today on our and the Garda's social media in Donegal. We'll be back with it live next Tuesday just after 10.
Damien is more than happy to tackle the ironing just after 7 p.m.
That's when I know it can be more rewarding.
Go Damien. You see, lots of us use electricity between 5 and 7 p.m, creating a peak demand. By shifting his electricity use to outside of those peak hours, Damien could earn rewards.
It's a win-win!
Join the thousands of electricity customers who are already taking control and earning rewards with the Is This a Good Time programme. Find out more at esbnetworks.ie/time. ESB Networks. Energizing your everything.
Go full Lidl and find everything you need for the perfect Easter dinner. Fresh from Wexford, our tender Board B approved Irish whole lamb leg is sure to be the star of your roast. 30% off, now $7.69 per kilo. Proudly supporting Irish suppliers. Shop without compromise. Go full Lidl this Easter.
When it's time for confirmation or first communion, it's time for a trip to Watson Menswear in Letterkenny. Choose from a great selection of top label, casual and formal wear. Suits with matching shirts and ties. Blazers, jackets and shirts. Also denims, chinos and footwear from big names like Diesel, Cavani and Tommy Bow. Stand out on the big day at Watson Menswear. Open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny. And online at watsonmenswear.com.
The Bus Éireann School Transport online portal is now open for new applications. All new applicants for the 2025-26 school year must apply before Friday the 25th of April. A late application could mean that a school transport ticket is not available for your child. To apply, see details of eligibility, pay or enter medical card details, visit busaaron.ie/school transport. An initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Tony's with me now. He joins us on line one. Tony, thanks for calling. I suppose first and foremost, how is your son?
He's okay. It could be a lot worse now, but just keep him on for observation reasons and stuff. And he's a few bumps in his head and when they were kicking him,
Right, so he has to make sure there's no concussion, or if the concussion is...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They'll have to... he's been in there now since I still in there yet.
Yeah, this all follows an attack on Letterkenny's Main Street last night. Tony, what happened?
Well, it started off below down at Blake's shop down there at the bottom of the street. And he was in there, he was out walking the dog, and he was in the shop there. And this guy told him to get the dog out. They had two kids there. So I don't know what exactly was said. There was words spoken between the two of them anyway. So then he headed off walking up the main street. But your man must have phoned these other guys, and they jumped them just there beside Dunn's Hotel.
And what time of the day was this at? Was this in the evening?
It was last night. It was about half 10, 11 o'clock last night, roughly. The guards called me around, I think it was around quarter to 11 or around that time,
Right, so this group of men, there's up to 7 of them, they just laid into him.
They laid into him because my son reckons he had made a phone call there at the shop, and he had phoned his friends, and then that was them, and he was actually with them then. He joined them, this guy that was in the shop. He actually joined the group as well. When they jumped him, he was there as well. The guy that he met in the shop.
What did they strike him till he hit the ground? You said he got kicks to the head.
Yeah, they knocked him down. Yeah, they all jumped on him. Yeah, they kicked him around the place. Yeah, and he was trying to crawl into Dunn's and into Dylan's Hotel there, when they were kicking at him now, and the dog was going crazy as well. So eventually they got the 2 women came along the street, 2 older women. I think they were staying in Dylan's Hotel. I'm not 100% sure. So when they seen the 2 women, they stopped in and they got them inside the door. Then inside the Dylan's to safety inside Dylan's Hotel.
I suppose you have to ask yourself, if members of the public hadn't come along, how even worse could this have been?
Yeah, exactly. That's happening all the time. We know that's happening every day. That's a very common thing these days. Now, Letterkenny's a very dangerous place getting.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And
I don't know, damn now what's going to happen. But he's still in the hospital anyway for concussion. They're going to keep him in there. I don't know when he's going to be released, but they'll probably keep him on maybe the rest of the day. I don't know.
A horrible experience for him.
Oh, terrible! He's very badly shook. He thought now he was waiting for him to be stabbed maybe, because that's a very common thing these days now. These people carry knives in London, that's what he was thinking. Now he's going to get stabbed, but lucky enough, the 2 women came along. Only for that could have been a lot worse,
There's CCTV up and down Letterkenny Main Street. Any shops maybe he was in might have CCTV. Would you be hopeful that those responsible might be apprehended?
I would love to see them apprehended, of course, and the full force of law to come down on top of these boys, because that my son could have been left in a wheelchair, he could have been killed. That was just, we don't really know how lucky we are, because we hear it happening all the time,
And the truth
Especially
is,
in London
he's still in hospital. You don't know, hopefully nothing comes on him. I mean, it won't, fingers crossed, but you still don't know. He still remains in hospital. When the guards called you, are you down as his contact, or did he give you a number? That must have been a shocking call to get for you.
Well, the funny thing is, he had no phone with him. He had nothing with him at all in his pockets. He had nothing with him at all. And when the ambulance came, and the only way that he could get in contact with me was because my niece's husband is a paramedic. So the other son, my cousin's husband is a paramedic. He'll have my number. So the paramedic rang my niece's paramedic. And that's how they got my number. The guards called me then.
I mean, whatever about the earlier exchange in the shop, people have words all of the time. It should never lead to a situation where a group of 6 or 7 men jump on another one, early enough in the evening on Letterkenny's main street.
Yeah.
Like, how do people have the confidence to feel that they can get away with that? That's what would, are they not worried that guards might land and lock them up, or maybe they're not worried?
I don't think it bothers them one bit. They'll get away with it. Anyway, Greg, I don't think, yourself is going on all the time. Nothing is done with these people. If it was me that did it to another man, I'm sure I'd be gone right away and be locked up. But there'll be CCTV, and I hope that they get these people and pick them up.
Was he able to give Gardaí a description of those responsible?
The guy that he met in the shop, he would, yeah. You know him. He'll know him again, yeah. He would know him again, yeah.
So he could pick him out of a lineup, but
there's too many of them. There was too many of them at the one time. They jumped on him at the one time. There's just about too many of them. So, but he recognized your man. So he had hold of him now, and when they were kicking him, he just held on to him. He was telling me, but he's very badly shook. He can't speak properly either, So
did they say anything to him?
I didn't want to be asked. Sorry.
Did they say anything to him? Do you know, or was there any?
They did. They did, yeah. They actually did, yeah. He said to me, "This is our town. We own it now." He says, "That's what they said to him."
Right. Okay.
So that's what he told me, that, because I didn't want to ask him too much. I didn't want to put him through too much stress by asking him too many questions, because he was a bit dazed now and everything,
But he's sure. They said that's a strange thing to come out with. This is our town. Yeah. We own it now.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, that's what he told me. Yeah, he says this is our town. We run it now. He says we run it. That's what he said. Yeah.
All right. And your son's a local guy, is he? You'd be familiar with Letterkenny?
Oh, he is. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he's a local guy, surely. Yeah, a local fella, surely. Yeah.
Is this his first experience like this, or?
First experience, yeah. That's his first experience, yeah. He's out with the dog, just, he walks the dog all the time. Out down to the what do you call that park out by
Ballymacool, is
O'Donnell Park?
I'm not from
Ballymacool is right.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
the one, yeah. That's it, yeah.
I'm terrible on names of things and locations, Tony.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
I just got lucky there, to be honest with you. Right, okay. If anyone saw this group of men, if it helps identify them, you say, he says they spoke in a different language other to English at times, as well as saying that to him.
Yeah.
We have to be able to try and we have to not have to be able to mention if there's distinguishing features that might assist in an investigation, and that was something that you mentioned beforehand, and it's only motivated to try and sort of help Gardaí to ascertain who's responsible. Listen, I hope your son has a full physical recovery. I mean, it's gonna make him nervous, I presume, going forward, like many people walking on Letterkenny Main Street, it would seem.
Yeah, he's, yourself.
And I know he's probably
not too safe at the moment.
He's probably an older.
Can you
lad.
imagine? Can you imagine if it was a girl? Oh my God Almighty.
Well, I know he's probably he's probably an older lad, but as parents, it's like there were 4 or 5 or 6 when something like this happens to them. We sort of regress, don't we? And we just want them safe.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Right,
Listen,
all right,
I hope the investigation, and it's one we're going to keep an eye on, I hope it proceeds, because there has to be good CCTV footage, or actually this was
there has to be,
a part of the guards'
appeal
there, dash cam footage, or anyone who visualised this, anyone who's not visualised it, who watched it. Okay. Listen, thanks for your time, Tony. Best wishes to your son. Okay. Right, now, just before I take a break, it's all nearly coming to an end. It is our €10,000 home makeover plus 10k in cash. The draw's taking place on Around the Northwest in about 24 hours or a little over it on Around the Northwest with John Bresson, live from Foy's in Letterkenny. And the reason we're at Foy's is because this is done in association with Foy's. There's €10,000 worth of home makeover of a spend in Foy's for you to reimagine your space, throw everything at one particular room, or indeed give the whole house a good lick. You know what you'd do with 10,000 around your house, and of course that €10,000 in cash. We gave away already €5,000, and even just as recently as this morning, we had another one of our listeners land up and collect €1,000. That's the way it works, right? It's they're all local winners, which is great. It's not a prerequisite, but it's our little competition for us here in the Northwest, and it's people in this area that are winning. And it's not too late. I'm very tight in time there, Caroline. It's not too late for you to buy your tickets, by the way. And the prize is 20k, as I say, €10,000 home makeover, €10,000 in cash. And the ticket may yet be sold. The winning ticket may yet be sold. We simply don't know. That's the nature of a draw, right? It's pure chance. You can get one ticket for €15 if you feel lucky, or 5 for 50 if you want to group in with a few people and get them a little bit cheaper. Why not? You get the £5 off if you buy 5. And that's all happening tomorrow on Around the Northwest. You have about 24 hours to get your tickets. So why wouldn't you? And of course, do so well within your means, and you can have a bit of fun with it and roll the dice and see if you're lucky. Okay, this is the 9 till noon show. On this Tuesday, it's the 15th of April. We'll be back with the weather forecast and some of your comments after this break.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with our bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Friday 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
Exterior painting time is here, and Foy's in Ballybuffet and Letterkenny have you covered. The largest stockists of paint in the Northwest, Foy's have Dulux Weather Shield, Coloured Trend Weather, Little Green Exterior, Fleetwood Weather Clad, and all the accessories you'll need. Whether you're after the perfect colour or expert technical advice, Foy's is a place to go. Don't settle for less. Get the best at Foy's in Ballybuffet and Letterkenny.
Join An Cahirla of Donegal County Council, Councillor Niamh Kennedy, for a special concert in support of Donegal Domestic Violence Services at Angranin Theatre on Friday, April 18th, with guests Moya Brennan and Mairead Niwini, the Friel Sisters, spoken word artists Maura Logue and Valerie Bryce, singer-songwriters George Houston, Lara Bell and Owen O'Farry, and guest appearance by the award-winning Danu Young Women's Choir. Tickets priced €25 are now booking from Angranin Theatre on 074 9120777 or online at angrinon.com.
If you need an eye test, look no further than Louis Walsh Opticians. Letterkenny's longest established opticians are delighted to welcome patients new and old to their state-of-the-art practice in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. Their latest technology includes a 3D OCT retinal camera, which assesses the health of your eyes in minutes. Private, medical card and PRSI patients welcome. Call 91 21000 to arrange your eye test.
Louis Walsh Opticians, Letterkenny. Your vision, our focus.
Glenswilly GAA Club Bingo. Easter special this Wednesday 16th at 8:30. 3 chances of winning €500. Jackpot €1,050. All other houses €100. All lines €40. Easter hamper giveaway on the night. That's this Wednesday at Glenswilly GAA Hall.
Okay, I thought that was the weather forecast. I'll give you the weather forecast in any case. Sunny spells developing. A touch more high cloud will push in later, but it will remain dry here across the northwest. Temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees and northwesterly breezes. Tonight, a mix of cloud and some clear spells, but it will remain mostly dry northwesterly breezes and lowest temperatures of 1 to 3 degrees. A caller says, just drive around any town. The standard of driving in any town is so bad. Cars pull out in front of you. Nobody uses indicators. Everyone's on their phone. As a driving instructor, I've seen people come in and drive perfectly, and an hour later they're driving recklessly. In the north, the PSNI pulled you in if you don't indicate. Yellow boxes on roundabouts, never adhered to. Starting with the small things, it might help implement better driving. Everything in people's power should be done to get the identity of that car and driver, and he should be banned from driving. Listening to the gentleman on your show re hospitals, it shows how our county is treated. I left Galway after an outpatient procedure and felt discomfort before I left there. UHG advice was if I had issues was to get back to them, i.e. Galway, go to the GP or attend the ED. LUH was at the door at that time. I was thinking of getting the driver to bring me to Sligo Hospital, but decided just to get back home. It was an experience I wouldn't like to repeat. I survived it, but it's not the way to treat people. We're treated like second-class citizens above the line from Dublin to Galway, and I'm thinking of Betty Holmes and her map there. Hi, Greg. You should tell Tony that Friends of Inishowen take cancer patients to appointments all over Ireland, Galway, Sligo and Dublin, free of charge. That might well suit Tony. It's fantastic. We'll put Tony in contact with the Friends of Inishowen. Maybe he's the type that wants to do it under his own steam. I don't know, but anyway. I've used John McGinley's service many times. It's great for Donegal and indeed all of Ireland. Well done to everyone who runs this service. It's great for the people. The bus leaves at 5:45 from Parnell Square Monday to Sunday with additional services on Friday and Sunday. Again, Tony's experience was in Sligo. The people of Dunlow would welcome all visitors and make sure they're well looked after. The people of Dunlow would welcome all visitors and make sure they're well looked after. What is that in reference to? Greg, how can Rory McIlroy be Ireland's greatest sportsman? Golf isn't a sport. Try Brian O'Driscoll or Paul O'Connell. Well, golf is a sport, isn't it? Is table tennis a sport? I don't know. Maybe that's a parlour game. Is darts a sport? Parlour game, maybe. Even though I respect the people as sports people, it's not what I feel, but it is a sport. I mean, it's just moving a ball around in a different way, isn't it? Greg, Rory, his actions spoke louder than words when he represented Ireland in the Olympics. Rory was born on a very lucky day, Ascension Thursday, 1989. Anyone born on this day every year will rise above the rest in their lifetime is proof of the pudding. Let me see over here. Why don't the Gardaí target repeat offenders or known repeat offenders? Every village has them. We all know them. These are drivers, I presume. But we never see a Garda doing anything about it except on national slowdown days. Rural policing has failed. It may not be palatable to say it, but it's a fact. Policing by the media is a poor substitute for real presence and enforcement. But you're hearing that. This isn't a criticism of the Guards per se, because you're hearing that from the Association of Garda Sergeants and Inspectors. They're saying that we can't be out and about policing because of this new model of policing. Those calls are not only coming from the public, but they're coming from within the force themselves, if you know what I mean. And those are the people on the ground who know as well. Right, a quick one here to mention that Niamh Michael Community 5K Run, Walk and Coffee Morning is taking place this coming Saturday. It's at 11 a.m, the Bridge Dunfanaghy, registration at the clubhouse from 10 a.m, and it's supporting Cassie's Journey. They're fundraising to help support the cost of Cassie's essential cancer treatment and associated costs in Holland. Her treatment's no longer available in Ireland. So anything you can do, get out, join Niamh Michael for a 5K fundraiser followed by a coffee morning. And you can also donate via iDonate as well. Back with the news shortly.
Charge into summer with TUI. Choose from a beach cruise or city break or Mexico flying direct from Dublin. Holiday sorted. TUI, live happy.
Jenny loves spring. Sun on her face and a crisp, cold, specially selected kombucha from Aldi in her hand. It's picnic time. Uh-oh, wasps. Usually she'd freak out, but all the specially selected olives, relish and Gortnamona Irish goat's cheese have her feeling so at one with nature. She's thinking maybe wasps are just misunderstood. Now nothing can stop her enjoying picnic season. Not even that. Good food, good mood from Aldi.
Here at Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville and Bridgend, we stock recliner and fabric suites, dining tables and chairs, beds and mattresses, curtains and rugs, and don't forget our large flooring department stocking carpet, vinyl and laminate flooring. We can't be beaten on price or quality and give a weekly delivery service to Donegal, Derry and Strabane, not to be matched. So call in today to Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville or Bridgend for all your home furnishing needs.
Cupra. People tend to become obsessed. What is it? Where do I find it? How do I get one? And the new Cupra range will only increase that sense of desire, with power options from petrol and diesel to plug-in hybrid and full electric. Experience the new Leon, the new Formentor, and the new all-electric Born VZ. Available now with exclusive offers. That thing you feel? It's called obsession. Visit CupraOfficial.ie.
Your local Cupra dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 97 21396.
Monster Bingo every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel. €3,300 must go with €1,000 on the last page. Doors open 7:30. Bingo starts at 8:30. That's Monster Bingo this and every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And it is 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update, and it's good morning to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A man was allegedly assaulted by a group of men last night in Letterkenny. Gardaí say when a man was walking home, he was reported to have been set upon at Upper Main Street shortly before 20 to 11 by 6 to 7 men. He received treatment at Letterkenny University Hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Witnesses or those with dashcam footage of the area is asked to make it available to Gardaí. A councillor says more planning is needed to ensure that when a scheme to remediate defective concrete social homes is agreed, Donegal County Council is ready to act. As it stands, it's estimated at least 1,800 social houses will need to be remediated. At present, only 81 of those homes are currently vacant, and 55 of those are semi-detached buildings with people living in the adjoining houses. That means only 26 houses will be ready for demolition when the scheme is up and running. Gardaí have launched an investigation after a man smashed the window of a property in Lifford on Sunday night. The aggravated burglary occurred at Cowsa Clunlee at approximately 10:30. Nothing was stolen, nor were there any life-threatening injuries sustained. Gardaí are asking anyone who may have observed a man on foot in the area around that time to make contact with Gardaí or those with dashcam footage from 10:15 to 11:15 to make it available. Token gestures won't be enough to resolve retention issues at An Garda Síochána, according to middle-ranking officers. The Association of Garda Sergeants and Inspectors has been holding its two-day conference in Killarney this week, which was addressed by Justice Minister Jim O'Callaghan yesterday. The AGSI says 109 Gardaí have resigned or retired so far this year, including 30 of its own members. Gardaí are appealing for witnesses to an alleged assault that occurred in Ballybuffet on Friday evening last. At approximately 9 o'clock, a woman was walking down Navanny Street from the direction of Main Street when it's believed she was assaulted by two female teenagers. She did not sustain any life-threatening injuries as a result of the incident. Gardaí are urging anyone with information to get in touch. And finally, the Taoiseach is reassuring J1 students they will be safe in America once they obey the country's laws. It comes amid concerns over students getting involved in protests like pro-Palestinian marches while on their summer visa. The Trump administration says it stripped around 300 student visas. That's all for now from the news desk. Back with more at 12 noon.
Donna Marie, thanks very much indeed, and we'll be back with more after this really short break.
Okay, take the next right.
Sure.
Not this right, the next right.
This is the next right.
Watch out! I meant the next right after this right.
What?
For when a right turn becomes a wrong turn. Get car insurance you can be confident in with An Post Insurance. Go to onpostinsurance.ie or call us today. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. One Direct Ireland Limited trading as An Post Insurance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. One Direct Ireland Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of An Post. Best price online.
All right, we're hearing about a lot about what I suppose could be described as a health tax accessing services in Dublin, Galway, Sligo. and elsewhere, fees and inconvenience we have to face that others in other parts of the country don't. Even if they are removed from these places, there might be better transport links, even trains, more regular bus services and what have you. Brendan can give us an insight into his family's experience. Brendan, thanks very much for your time. I know it's not easy chatting on the radio, but it's really important to get these stories out, and I'm very grateful to you for that.
No bother, Greg. Thank you.
Right, now this focuses on your child and accompanying your child for checkups down the country. What's your situation?
Well, fortunately enough, Craig, we're not, thankfully, we're not too bad. It's not just directed, I'm not just directing it on myself. It's more what I've seen myself, been down in Dublin, and I've been down myself as well. And it's more, there's a lot of people that has to go down maybe 3 or 4 times a month, maybe more. And just the way I would look at it is, a man says, as a child goes down in the bus to Dublin, it's €32, which is not it's not really an issue if your child has to go to Dublin. That's the way it is. Unfortunately enough, we can manage not so bad. But I just feel for these people that has to take children down. They're taking them down to Dublin maybe every week, and it's bound to be tough for women and even men. It's bound to be tough when they don't want to drive because there's nowhere to park in Dublin. They have to use the bus. They land down in Dublin, and as a man says, there's no courtesy for them. There's no courtesy. At the end of the day, you have a pensioner, which is 100%, has his bus pass. If a pensioner requires care, his care is a bus pass, which is 100%. A student gets a discount, which is 100% because they need it, obviously. I just can't understand how, I don't know now, but I would like to think what people would think about what a sick child not be entitled to. A child that has to go up and down to Dublin, it's not her choice, it's not the Wayne's choice, it's not the parents' choice, but they have to go up and down the country, like at the end of the day, to Dublin, which is the only answer because they're brilliant down there and it's not an issue at all. But I think a wee bit of compassion, as a man says, a wee bit of courtesy that the child should be. I think a child that has long-lasting medication to get in Dublin, as a man says, I think they'll be entitled to some wee discount when it comes to travel itself.
Yeah, and you're really talking you're talking really about the average family here, often working, whereby they're just keeping their head above water, but they can't necessarily face 100 quid a week on buses.
Exactly. And I'll tell you another one is, you land down in Dublin and you land down at the bus station, and as a man says, you go 8 hours in the morning, you get the bus, you have to get maybe another bus, you have to get this and that, which is not a problem. They go, and thank God it's there, thank God. And listen, if it was America with your child, anybody at all would go. It doesn't matter. It's not that case. But as a man says, I'm sure people are all aware that you have to be booked online on the bus. So, for instance, when you go down to the hospital, they can't help it because they're busy, as a man says, they're held back. But you have the bus booked back maybe. There was a girl went down 10:30, went down 10:30 for an appointment. She wasn't seen to 1 o'clock, which can't be helped. But she had the bus online booked for 3:30 coming home. But she didn't get back to the bus station then. She missed that bus. So she would have had to pay again, only thankfully the company she was with, the bus driver let her on for there were enough seats. But if that was this time of year now, with airport travel or everything now, it's no good to you.
Yeah, and I think
at the end of the day, you have to know how long you're going to be with a child in the hospital to travel with a bus. Like there's a brave few people that I would be nervous myself driving in Dublin on my own because I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people nervous of driving. I think if there was a wee bit of push to make the bus sound easier, a wee bit that more affordable, I think people could, they would push them more to do it. And not only that there, I think the parents deserves to, and the Wayne deserves to be in a relaxed humour going on that journey. At the end of the day, I just think with all the allowances and with everything else that's going on, I don't think a sick child should be held for it. I think a sick child should be entitled to it. The way I see it is, you land down the bus for your child, You're sitting. I've seen it. I've seen the same children going down. I've been up and down the cell, and I've seen it. And I've been talking to people that's gone up and down every week with their child. And at the end of the day, that child's paying the same money as the man that's heading to the airport on holidays, which is not a problem with me. But it just doesn't. To me, I just don't think it's. I don't think the compassion's there, and I just don't think there's enough. I don't know what do you think yourself, but.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to agree with you, Brendan. I mean, it's easy to prove if someone needs continued care, isn't it? You know what I mean? If a consultant can...
all you have to, all you have to do when you go to Dublin, if you have to stay, all you have to do, there was a hotel, there's a few, but I know one in particular, we've used it ourselves, it's the Lewis Fitzgerald. All you do is you show your letter that you have an appointment at the hospital, they automatically give you a reduced rate.
Mm-hmm.
They look after you. They just make it more affordable. We are fortunate enough. We are lucky. We are lucky, don't get me wrong, but I know plenty of people that aren't lucky. They've gone down there to Dublin, and at the end of the day, you're driving down to Dublin. I've talked to people. There's not even many places, if you had a very sick child, there's not even very many places that has toilets to suit you between here and Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, and some of the bus companies now, that they go on different buses and stuff like that there, I mean, it's an argument to get them to stop to get the toilet on the way home. I've witnessed that. I've been there. And I just think it's something that should be looked about, don't I?
All right, Brendan, listen, thank you very much for that. That's Brendan. And, Brendan, as you say, they're lucky enough that they have the resources at this time that they can sort of absorb the regular transport costs to bring a child up and down from Dublin. Maybe you're listening and Brendan is talking about you, and there's many of you, I'm sure, and it would be interesting for us to get an insight into what it's like if you do have to, and it doesn't have to be exclusively with a child, but if you do have to make regular trips up and down from Dublin, what's it like? And, there's an awful lot of single parents out there, and maybe single parents with multiple children, and they have to leave younger children to take an older child up and down and call on family to assist in relation to that, and maybe have to make decisions about what they don't spend money on to afford buses. I don't know. It's bound to affect people. Brendan's spoken to them. He knows himself. He'd be that person only for he has the resources to not be, but there's not everyone going to be that lucky. What do you think? Are you affected by that? 086 60 25,000 or call us on 07491 25,000. A caller says, we went to Galway via the Friends of Letterkenny, driven by Marley's. It was such a great experience. It's a free service, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Martin was the driver and stopped wherever we needed to. He reassured us throughout the journey. It was amazing. We are old age pensioners, and he said he wouldn't leave without us. Morning, Greg. Them guys that jumped that lad in Letterkenny are not men. They're cowards. But Tony is right. They'll get away with it and nothing will be done. Well, this is where faith in policing can... If there is a sense, whether it's true or not, but if there is a sense that people can commit crime and get away with it, that's a problem. That does more to damage faith in on Garda Síochána than an awful lot would. A caller says a language other than English, so we're looking for Gaelic speakers then, because according to the government, our new foreign arrivals have nothing to do with the rise in crime. Maybe the appeal looking for the culprit should be made in a language other than English. How many people actually... This is an interesting one. How many people actually believe that Katy Perry went to space? It all seems like a farce. Her coming out again was like opening a barn door. There was no way that thing actually went into space and through the stratosphere. Well, I mean, I presume it happened. They don't go actually into space. It's 100 kilometers above Earth. It is it's classed as space, but you're not bumping into satellites, that sort of way. But the pod they were in seemed to be descending very, very quickly, very, very quickly until the parachutes kicked in. Much quicker than someone might in a parachute jump, for an example. But they all seemed nonplussed about that and got out as they got in, looking grand. Could it be kept a secret if it wasn't real? I don't know. I mean, it's all there, isn't it? It's all videoed. But there are quite a few people that believe it didn't happen. I don't know why. Hi, Greg. Can you give a shout out to all the young ones taking part in the quiz in Milford this evening? It's the county final for community games. Well done, everyone. Good luck to all. I'm sure there's a bit of nerves for something like that there. So everyone taking part in the quiz in Milford, have a great time. Enjoy it. And it's organised by the Donegal Community Games. Hi, Greg. Would you announce that there's a table quiz in the Purty House or Melton tonight? It's at 8 p.m. All are welcome. And the proceeds there are for Relay for Life. Why is the CCTV in the town not being used to identify these offenders? Surely it would be better at tracing where they came from and where they went after the incident. That's exactly what the Garda investigation will be doing. I've no doubt about that. But, sometimes with this CCTV, they point a telescope into the sky and, take an image or an image of Mars or something like that there. And it's like 10 times better quality than some of these CCTV. But hopefully it's good enough to find who's responsible. A shocking assault in Letterkenny. I hope the attackers get a severe tongue lashing, a slap on the wrist from the courts, as is usual in Donegal. Some of these are tongue-in-cheek, obviously. I'm too frightened to shop in Letterkenny now for fear of being robbed. As a mobility scooter user, I'm sick of being walked in front of or jostled in the supermarkets by people who merely laugh if I say anything about the manners. If what that man says is true, then these men should be deported straight away, but we've already heard that Letterkenny is being controlled. By the way, just because someone speaks with a language other than English, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not Irish born or what have you. One can't jump to conclusions, but that was Tony's story, and maybe that information might be useful in apprehending whomever from wherever they're from is responsible. A quick break, and then we'll chat to Julie.
The grand stretch is back, and it's brought the sun with it. Class. Enjoy the streak of good weather with great offers from Centra, like Super Queen sausages 6-pack €1, Capri Sun Orange 10-pack $2.50, and Coors 6-can pack $10.18 plus deposit. We're here whatever the weather. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
Making the move away from diesel? Don't get confused. Get excited at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Experience the power of choice. From our unrivaled hybrid range with no plugging in, to plug-in hybrids and the fully electric BZ4X, we have the right car for you. With incredible offers, including power-up boosters of up to €2,500, make the move at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world. T's and C's apply.
B&Q's Big You Can Do It sale is now on. Save big with unmissable decor deals, like 3 for 2 mix and match on selected interior and exterior paint, and 4 for 3 on laminate and luxury vinyl click flooring. Shop in-store or at DIY.ie. You can do it when you B&Q it. Exclusions and terms and conditions apply. Ends 24th of April. See DIY.ie.
Mary Kennedy here. Now that I'm 70, I'm feeling as vibrant and full of life as ever. But I also know that with age comes new challenges, like the risk of osteoporosis. Ladies, our bones support us. Now it's time for us to support them. If you're a woman aged over 65, make time for your bone health and break the silence around osteoporosis by talking to your GP or by visiting www.irishosteoporosis.ie. Remember, investing in your bone health today means staying strong and independent tomorrow. In association with the Irish Osteoporosis Society, organised by Amgen.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
17 minutes past 11. On the programme now we have Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Craig.
We were talking yesterday about undertaking, and we saw a video of it, and it was absolutely shocking. And then we were sent other videos, actually, of similar behaviour. Crazy stuff that's going on. You had a similar experience on the roads, did you?
I had a similar experience. It was on the 1st of April.
Mm-hmm.
I was coming back from Derry. My son's girlfriend and the wee 8-week-old baby were in the car. And we noticed a lorry behind us just there at the Cosh. Is it the Cosh bar you call before you come out? And there was beeping off the horn. And Dervla had said to me, "Is that lorry beeping at you?" I said, "Oh, no, I don't think so." I said, "I think he's probably just beeping to someone." But then when we got to the bridge end roundabout, he was still beeping. Now, I don't know where he wanted me to go. Like, there was nowhere to pull in. Did he want to pass or what did he want?
Mm-hmm.
But after we got off the Bridge End roundabout, and like he sat on my bumper, he was so close to me.
Wow. What
and
direction were you going, Julie, from there?
I was going from Bridge End heading towards Newton.
Right. Okay.
So he just was beeping the horn, sitting really close. I was doing about 90 kilometres. I would always go a bit under the speed.
Yeah.
Obviously, the baby's in the car. And he proceeded to pass me out on the hard shoulder at an Arctic lorry. The lorry was up as far as my passenger door. We had video footage. It's not the best video footage because we were panicked. I just wanted to get away because all I could think about was the baby's in the back right beside him. If he had something or has to swerve or loses control at the speed he was doing, you know, I just would like to think what the outcome would have been. But he proceeded to do this the whole way up the road. He was just driving like a lunatic.
So it's not that... Was he trying to intimidate you by driving on the whole hard shoulder alongside of you, or did he try and pass you on the hard shoulder, Julie, or what?
He tried. I think he was trying to pass me.
Right.
Well, I'm not sure. Maybe he was trying to intimidate me, but I was going fast enough. For him driving an Arctic lorry, he was probably breaking the speed limit.
Well, he's at 80.
They have a reduced speed.
80's his limit, so he's if you're doing 90, you shouldn't be a bother to him.
Not at all. Like, you know, the way he behaved, it's just not the way you behave on the roads. Even when I turned off.
Don't mention it because we just would have to check it out, right? Because different lorries have different sign writings and stuff on it. But do you know which company this...
I know. I
mention
contacted the company.
Right,
Oh, no,
okay.
I won't mention any names. I spoke to the company. It's not the man who owns the company's fault. But, like, I was shaken with anger. I turned off. You know the roads you turn off that can take you over to Calais just before you come to Newton?
I do, right.
Well, I turned off that road because I was going straight to the barracks in Newton Cunningham. That's where I was going.
Good woman.
And he happened to turn off behind me.
Oh, jeez, right.
And he went the Calais way. He went the Calais way. I went on the other wee road, and I went straight to the barracks in Newton. And it was locked. So I says, we'll go on home. I contacted the company of the van, or of the lorry. We got the number plate, we got everything. Like, sure, you know yourself, the company names advertised all over the lorry. He could see that the passenger was videoing him.
Didn't care.
It didn't deter him at all. He didn't care.
What did the whoever you got through to in the company have to say?
I'll tell you what he said. So I knew it wasn't the first time. I just called out the number plate. I called out the make. I says, "Do you own this lorry?" He says, "What was he doing? Was he overtaken?"
Wow.
So obviously, it's not first complaint. You know, yeah. I went up to the guards. I showed them the footage. I didn't make a statement. The guards made note of it. They were going to contact the company, and that's kind of as far as I went, you know.
Yeah.
So if the guards decide to go down, probably, I'm sure they would have given a warning. But now the man from the company was a lovely man, and he phoned me back, and he said he got rid of him. He said he was a lorry man for 35 years, the owner. He says he's not going to kill anybody working for my company. And, you know, if he had lost control of that lorry that day, we would have been dead. The size of the lorry and my wee car,
But
you know.
again, I mean, obviously, you know, you kept in control of the vehicle. It'd be very easy to panic and find yourself under that trailer.
100%.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing, that I was able to stay and not get panicked. I sped up to get away from him when he was really close to us. That was the scariest part, when he was up at my back passenger door. So he was in the middle of my car, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's how far he was up, and I sped to get away from him. And I probably broke the speed limit to get away from him.
And
You
then
know,
when you
that's
turned to Calais and he followed you, it must have been like something out of a horror film.
It was scary, and I was wondering, and he was still beeping the horn. The beeping and beeping and beeping of the horn. And it's just unfortunate. I have a new car now. I had changed my car, and I never got my dash cameras up. I have a front dash camera and a back dash camera, but I didn't get them up in the car, unfortunately.
All right, okay. But anyway,
it's
your
very
evidence. Scary. Your evidence was accepted, and I think it's better someone like that's not on the road. Listen, sometimes,
that's all I want to
sometimes
pass
people sound the horn or make a gesture in the moment, and 10 seconds later they regret it. But this was prolonged intimidation of you.
This was the whole way on that road.
Right,
It was just the fact that the wee baby was in the car, and then, as you say, I didn't know, was he following me now? Is he going to follow me wherever I go? What all I could think about was Dervla in the car, a young girl with a young baby. And she was very upset about it too.
Of course,
her baby, it wasn't my baby. So she was very distressed about the whole situation.
All right, thanks,
but that's why I passed it on.
Thanks for the story, Julie. And listen, I'll tell you,
no bother.
It's good to remind people that there's lots of eyes out there and there's lots of cameras, and people really need to be careful, especially professional
and the guard
drivers.
Had said to me, if it happens again, ring us straight away. And I didn't even think of that. He says, we could have a car in the area. He says, always ring that in straight away. He says, we could possibly have someone in the area that will get out to you. So that's another.
But look at
another thing just to say.
You were trying to keep
I
the
couldn't
car
think
straight.
Of any of that.
And it's easy said. But all right, listen, thanks, Julie. I'm glad you're all home safe.
Thank you so much
Take
for
care.
having me.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks, Julie. Jerry's with us too. Jerry, you're on about dangerous driving. Good morning to you.
How you doing? You all right?
I'm good, Jerry. There seems to be actually, I don't know if it's just coincidence, but it's roads between Derry and into Donegal that seems to be the focus of a lot of these issues as of late. But anyway, Jerry, what's your experience, your contribution?
Yeah, well, I was over on holiday. We just got back last night. My mother was from Derry. My dad was from Rathmullen. So I'm 56 now. I've been coming over since I was 8, and first brought my wife over about 20 years ago, and she said it was really refreshing to see that on the roads you've got the wee hard shoulder there, and people would your tractors and your cars, if somebody wanted to get past, they'd pull over briefly and let cars that are going a wee bit faster go. And that's what it's always been like, as far as I'm aware. But I've just noticed there on the road from we were stopping up north of Mayville near Struve, and on the way down into Derry, I noticed cars undertaking us and cars undertaking, like racing, undertaking and overtaking cars at the same time. So if you got a bit shocked and you went to the left or you went to the right, then you could have a car either side of you. And I never really sort of saw what age these people were, but whatever they are, they're not in the right mind anyway, driving like that.
Well, Jerry, you've had an opportunity with the way you visit of dipping in and out of sort of the driving behaviour. I think that's fair to say. You have noticed, have you, a change in the quality of driving over the years? I don't want to put words in your mouth. Have you?
No, not really. It's always been. I think it's always been very respectful sort of driving. Like I say, using the hard shoulder there to let people across. I mean, my wife, she's always got like a bit of she's always got a bit of an annoyance when she's driving over here on the roads, and the tractors who can do 30 odd mile an hour, they just sit there with cars behind them. Whereas over in Donegal and on the way to Derry, she said, "Crikey, they're pulling over."
They're courteous, yeah,
and stuff like that. And it's always been like that. I've always noticed, like some of the younger sort of kids, they put the foot down, they whiz past you. But that hard shoulder there, I always just go, well, if they're in a rush to get somewhere, and I don't want to get involved in any sort of accident because they've left the house too late or showing off to somebody else in the car. But it's the first time I've noticed this time where people are, whether it's a new thing, where they're using that hard shoulder to show off and undertake and have a car overtake at the same time.
Wowzers. Okay, I mean, that's scary stuff. And you had that, sorry, I missed that in the beginning of this. So you're sitting, as you would, on the left side of the road, on the left-hand side of the road, in the middle of your section of the road. And are you saying you had cars overtake and undertake at the same time around you?
No, not
right. Okay.
Not myself. I saw this it was like a black Audi. It come flying up behind me, and I just sort of glanced in the mirror, and so I just pulled over, put my hand out, and waved him past.
Yeah.
And he went past me, and then another car went past me, and we were over. We brought a couple who'd never been over to Ireland. Well, they've been to Dublin, but that's not the real Ireland.
Not proper
like going
Ireland.
into Temple Bar and stuff. So I said, you want to come up to Donegal? So he was in the car and he went. He said, "Oh crikey, what's that?" And I said, "Oh, you just let people go if they're in a bit of a rush." But then we watched them as they went further down, and that's where I saw them undertake and overtake at the same time, two separate cars, and then a few more went past. And there was about, I'd say, between 4 or 5 cars, and they seemed to be in a like doing their own little gumball rally. But
I mean,
very
and
dangerous
the
driving,
thing worrying,
you know.
and I suppose this is why there's so many Garda appeals. Like, how many collisions happen whereby they've been caused by this type of driving activity? That the person who's been undertaken or whatever drives off, races off, and leaves carnage behind them. You know, I mean, how often we don't know. I hope I'm not being dramatic, but you know, we don't know the consequences of this type of driving. But you're not going to get away from it ever. Jerry, you've been on the road long enough. You know yourself as I do. If you take risks, it's only a matter of time. It catches up on you, and that's why most of us don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of these young. Well, whether they are young drivers or they're just like idiots on the road, there's probably a lot of them who say they see an accident in the rearview mirror, but they've probably been the cause of it. But anyway, Greg, it's been lovely to talk to you.
See you back soon, Jerry.
Thanks.
Take care. Thanks very much indeed. Jerry Flynn there talking about dangerous driving.
Imagine what you could do with €20,000 to refresh your living space. Highland Radio and Foy's are giving you the chance to transform your home with a €10,000 home makeover draw, plus €10,000 in cash. Get your tickets now at highlandradio.com for a chance to make your dream home a reality.
At DoorTech Garage Door Systems in Kilmacrennan, we specialise in the supply and installation of all types of industrial roller doors and garage doors. Whether for your home, business or farm, our doors offer the security you need. For premium quality doors, call DoorTech on 91 or visit doortech.ie.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Embark on an unforgettable cruise in 2025 with MSC Cruises and Atlantic Travel. From the Medan fjords of Europe to the Caribbean, captivating cultures, luxury ships with gourmet restaurants and world-class entertainment. Sail with award-winning cruise experts, atlantictravel.ie.
Milford Tiles, Milford Retail Park. Spring sale now on in our bathware department. Back to wall toilets, €199. 12 by 900 slider door, end panel and tray, €699. Wall hung vanity units and basin, €399. In stock and ready to go at Milford Tiles. 083 0910 707.
Workwear, Borderland Muff. Mega wetsuit sale, Borderland Muff. Fashion, footwear and hiking, Borderland Muff. Stocking Columbia, Apache and more. Celebrating 25 years. Open 7 days and online. borderlandmuff.ie.
Right, Paul is with us. Good morning, Paul. Thanks for your time today.
Good morning, Greg. Thank you.
You sent us in some pictures of bins in and around, is it Buncrana? Or in a show more generally, and the bins are full, and there is a lot of rubbish put alongside them. What's going on?
Yeah, well, the main street of Buncrana, this was last Friday morning, and there seems to be some discussions going on between the council and the guys who were contracted to sweep the streets and to empty the bins. Mm-hmm. Now, you know, although I can appreciate the expense and the budgets and things like that, I think that the Buncrana deserves the main street to be kept clean, at least in the mornings for bins to be emptied. You know, it's not rocket science that in the winter time it wouldn't be as needed as much, but definitely in the summertime and definitely with the weather we had this last week, it is very disheartening to see wrappers lying around bins. Now, the bins aren't adequate probably for what going into them. There is an assumption, and it's probably true, that some local residents are probably using them for domestic purposes. But, two rights don't make a wrong
It'd
here.
be very hard, though, would it not, to use that small opening for domestic purposes in any sort of uniform way, no?
You'd be surprised now, because I would be situated on the main street.
Okay, right.
And you can see people slowing down, and they might have a wee trolley with them, and they could throw out half a dozen little bags or tins, So I do appreciate the council will come back with that. But, as I say, two wrongs don't make a right. We need to keep Buncrana Main Street tidy.
Okay, now broadly speaking in your
tidy
pictures...
towns are doing a great job.
Yeah, Paul, broadly speaking in your pictures, the streets do look clean. And it seems that there's some organisation to this rubbish being placed at the bin. What is happening? Are people who are littering leaving their stuff beside the bin, or is this stuff being located there as part of the cleanup? Because as I say, the pictures, Buncrana does look nice and clean in them, bar these bins that you've sent us.
Yeah. But what I understand is that the contract initially with the cleaner was two people: the guy who drove the lorry and the guy who used a sweeper behind and who emptied the bins. Now the expense seems to have gone up so much that they don't now have the guy who will empty the bins. So the sweeper will sweep the street, and then the council are coming round later on in a small low loading truck with 2 or 3 men and are emptying the bins. But are they doing it daily, or are they doing it like last week when they were tortured by local businesses on the main street? Because people at least left the rubbish beside the bin, but the bin must not have been emptied the day before, which meant Friday was such a busy and warm day that the bins filled up very, very quickly.
But we know when places are going to be busy. We need to be able to be adaptive. We need to be able to adapt to the conditions. We know when our beaches, when Downings, Rosnala, Merva, and elsewhere, we know when there's going to be a lot of people around there. We know when people are going to go to the pier in Buncrana and jump off the pier. We know when Buncrana, Donegal Town, Killybegs are going to be busy. We need to be, and I think you wanted to make the point too about commercial rates, because the fronts of the businesses in Buncrana look absolutely wonderful. As I say, the streets are clean, but if you had one of these bins located outside your premises, you're looking at it going, well, what am I paying for? And I think I'm not making that point. I think that's the point that you wanted to make.
Yeah, well, the point about the rates is, like, Donegal County Council, they turned around to say that they had a record collection rates, let alone then services are being cut. And, it's all right saying that the councillors will come back to you, there's a budget each year, but that led me to be thinking of an active Chamber of Commerce again, and that's where this article is leading to. That you in Buncrana here, you've got tidy towns, you've St Patrick's Day, you've got St Vincent de Paul, you've Children's Charity, you've Sports Club, you've the Inishowen Credit Union, you've Kids Group, Senior Citizens Groups. A lot of things are being represented by volunteers, let alone we have probably about 200 businesses, and there's no grouping that's representing them that is providing the biggest amount of this money to the Donegal County Council.
But can I say it's not? Can I make the argument though, and it is only just for the sake of conversation? It's not a Chamber of Commerce. Surely it's a return of Buncrana Town Council, where they had control over budgets such as maybe, I don't know, looking after bins, maintenance of green areas. I recall when the town councils were abolished, a lot of those ring-fenced funds then went into the county-wide coffers. That was a controversy at the time. So I'm not saying a Chamber of Commerce is not effective. They would just be a lobby group, because you can't ask them to pay more, can you? It's a town council where there is adequate funding to serve the needs of what is the county's second or biggest seaside town. You know what I mean? That's surely what would be beneficial. No, Paul, what do you think?
Well, that's good in the long scheme of things, but you're talking about a national thing there, because you're not going to get a Buncrana Town Council and no other town council. And the way that politics, in my mind, works is they go at a very slow pace.
Yes, that is quite true.
Business pace is completely different. I'm in business 28 years. If I need something done, I lift the phone, I organise it with the proper man, I get him to do it, and I pay him. and we move on. So if you have a lobby group, and that's what we're talking about here, it's a lobby group, not somebody to annoy and to give out and to argue. But there's a lot of issues that's going on around Buncrana that the Buncrana business people see. That doesn't say it to people in Lifford or Letterkenny and these councils. They don't see that.
Yeah.
And one of the things which was sort of a coincidence today was the Mill Bridge. There's an article in the newspaper in the Inishowen Independent. That issue should have been sorted out years ago, before you were allowed to put in Lidl, Aldi, Hubert McLaughlin's place, the doctor's surgeries, the new medical care centre. You know, the first thing you do when you do business is you get access in. And you get adequate parking. You know, there's a whole lot of things.
So, as a business person, Paul, as a business person, are you floating the idea of the resurrection of an active Chamber of Commerce now?
Yeah.
Would you be prepared to get involved and, work with others to orchestrate it?
I, over the years, was involved in a lot of voluntary between the festival, between St Patrick's Day. I'm currently on the board of the Inishowen Credit Union. And I was a founder member of the original Chamber of Commerce, which was over 20 years ago. And I served 7 years on that and left it in a good place. Now, I'm coming to the end of my working years, but there's a lot of young ones out there who are starting, and I would be prepared to coordinate and to try to get people together who have the right ideas for Buncrana. At the end of the day, this is our town, and I'm not getting into the asylum seekers or anything like that, or MICA or anything like that. This is business. This is the business people working together, helping each other out. We do it ourselves as regards if I need a favour done from another business person. I have no problem ringing. They have no problem ringing me. But we need to get it together, and we need to get it coordinated. And then you have a strong lobby group that when it comes to the bins, this is what these guys see, because they see it every day of the week.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore too. Yeah, it's hard to ignore to a group of individuals or a collective of those who are contributing greatly through rates and what have you. It would be hard to ignore their voice if they're saying, look, we as 50 businesses in Buncrana need these bins changed. So I see exactly where you're coming from, Paul. And of course, you can reflect on your previous work with Buncrana Chamber of Commerce and know that's the case. All right, listen, it'll be interesting. Keep us updated if the likes of this conversation triggers of movement in that direction. I do appreciate your time. Back with more shortly.
Join us on Highland Radio this Thursday from 2:30 till 5 at the Ocean View Bar and Restaurant in Downings, now under new management. It's Jive Time on location with music, giveaways and lots more. Be part of the fun and see you at the Ocean View in Downings this Thursday for the Jive Time Show with David James from 2:30.
Why leave the magic moments and great scenes you've captured sitting on your phone when you can have them printed at McGee's Chemist? Using McGee's website or one of their in-store kiosks, you just upload your photos, select the ones you want, and have them printed instantly within an hour, or use the 24-hour service. 35mm and film from disposable cameras also printed, and old photos can be digitally restored. Hold your memories in your hand with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with their bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Friday 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
Octavia, Fabia, Scala, Superb, Kamiq, Karoq, Enyaq, Kodiak, petrol, diesel, plug-in hybrid, electric, HVO. So much choice, but not that much time. Whatever 251 Skoda you choose, you should order it now, because even though we have a wide range, they're selling fast. See what stock is left at skoda.ie and order yours today.
Skoda.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Discover trending new styles each week in fashion, footwear, accessories, homeware and more. Visit us to explore the latest arrivals in store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
So, sunny spells today. A touch more high cloud will push in a little later on, though it will remain dry. Temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees. Northwesterly breezes. A mix of cloud and some clear spells tonight, remaining dry, temperatures 1 to 3 degrees. And tomorrow, sunny spells and scattered showers, cloud to start, with plenty of dry weather too, becoming cloudier later in the afternoon, with temperatures 9 to 11 degrees. Quite regular weather for April, but as I said a little earlier on, we are seeing some nicer weather, I think, than our friends in the east. I had an incident at Woodlands in Letterkenny while dropping my grandson off to creche. A red Ford Focus came straight across the road at me. I never got the reg. To avoid it, I hit the ditch, and now my car is all scratched. I got some fright. Driving in Donegal has just got so irresponsible. And, you know, if there were isolated incidents, and maybe these are a series of isolated incidents, you wouldn't take note, but we're getting so many calls from people, very serious, dangerous driving instances, and a lot of other reports of issues on the roads as well. A caller believes we need more unmarked Garda cars on the roads. That doesn't make, that makes so much sense, wasn't it? I mean, because we see all of this. You know, we see it all. I was coming in the 4 lanes yesterday in a car weaving in and out of traffic, going faster than the speed limit. Everyone was going a little bit faster than it seemed. But anyway, he or she was going in and out, weaving in and out and out. Really dangerous. Every day, it's every day. I'm not... I just watch on at these things. I wouldn't be the most sort of, getting angry at it or being very judgy on it. But, you see it every day. The 11-minute space trip is a distraction from bad government locally and nationally. I think, did we read that one already, or did you also say, I think that person's just replaced Rory McIlroy winning with a distraction from bad government locally and nationally. Again, I'll say the same thing. We have to, and we try and do it on these shows as much as possible. We have to also look at other things, and nice things happen too. Rory winning was brilliant, says a listener. I didn't think the Taoiseach had tears in his eyes when talking. Okay, that's fine. As I said, it was in the background. But when he made the comment about falling and getting up, I thought exactly the same as you, Greg. Easter and Jesus falling with the cross. You're absolutely right, Greg. Read the Katy Perry and co. going into space. The world is badly divided for sure. So much money squandered that could be used otherwise makes me so angry. Greg, you're right. All the money the elite used to create space cartoons could be better utilised to feed people who are hungry or help children in need. I put yourself in the position of a billionaire. And, Elon Musk and the other buck, what's his name? Jeff Bezos. They're in a space race. Elon Musk's talking about planting humans on Mars. And the other buck, he's sending these celebrity women into space. If those guys got together and said, right, let's pick a country or something. Let's pick a country, maybe one that's not ravaged by war or what have you. Not that those people are less needy, but even just as an experiment, something that's less complicated. And go in and help children who are sick with cancer, who don't have access to medicine, or children who don't have any food or don't have access to antibiotics or what have you. Can you imagine... I could not happily sleep at night with 500 billion and not do stuff like that. I really couldn't. And yet these people are held up as the saviors of humanity. That's what really irks me. It's as if that they are, they've got your back. The amount of people come out to bat for these boys on social media. People like me don't have 2 shillings to rub together saying, oh, Elon and Jeff, they know what's what if people listen to them. And they're laughing. They're laughing at us because they're making the money off our backs. Mark Zuckerberg there, you heard on the news what he's doing effectively. There's an AI race too. They all want the money from artificial intelligence, but you have to train it. It has to learn. And he's going to use your Facebook and your Instagram posts to teach his artificial intelligence on this free service where you're the product. That's what Twitter X does. They already they use people's personal information and comments and even direct messages to teach artificial intelligence. And yet these people are seen as some sort of heroes where they're using you're doing the work for them. The department should investigate all carers and disabled people, says a listener, to support them and give them what they need. It seems to be that the government only want to take away allowances, not add them on. Right, okay, I'm going to go back to John. I do have to take... no, I don't have to take a break, actually. That's good. I can go straight to John. John, thank you. Good morning to you.
Good morning, John. How's things?
I'm doing good.
Greg, good morning. How are you?
That's all right, John. Don't worry about that. You're concerned about the Lough area. What's going on? What do you think needs looking at?
Well, we're about to kick off now into the summertime with the Gaeltacht students coming to Lough and to a lot of wee small villages in Donegal. And it's a couple of points I'd like to make, Greg. Is the first one in particular is for the Lough area, because that's where I live. And I'm only after... It's nearly after happening to myself. There's students there at the minute and driving down the road, and only because I'm doing very well under the speed limit. The young fella came out of the school gate on his phone and just stepped onto the road, and I mean, I had to lock up, I had to completely lock up on the road.
Yeah.
But if you're normally sitting at that petrol station, Greg, I mean, if you were a guard, you could be able to retire at the end of the week, for nobody comes through that town at the sensible speed. But especially now coming in now to the summertime where the Gaeltacht students are going to be about, it's for the drivers and for people to be a wee bit more cautious. That's my first point, is in terms of the speed aspect of it. But the second point, Greg, is the Gaeltacht students themselves. A wee bit more education in terms, I know they're learning the Irish, but I think it'd be a great wee thing to explain to them a bit more of the road safety. They're not in a city, they're not in a town, there's no pavements, it's not got the same luxury as they do coming from maybe the places they're coming from, such as Belfast area or Galway or whatever. But the thing is when they're in, sometimes the roads I'd be on, you go over a wee narrow single road track, and you go over hidden dips, and there'll be a line of them across the road.
Yeah.
A full line of them across the road. And I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before a child's killed. And I'm telling you now, it's only a matter of time because, again, it's just a lack of education. They're not aware. They're thinking it's a wee narrow road. There's not many cars. It doesn't take many cars for it to cause a severe accident.
And they probably come down thinking it's a cute wee local place where everyone's really relaxed.
100%.
And yeah, okay, and that's we know
exactly.
that's not the reality. Yeah.
And the last wee thing on that, but at the last, everybody's there 9 times out of 10, either for a week or 2 weeks. But I do think on the last week, as part of the curriculum, I think they should be made to walk the wee roads that they're staying in, the houses that they're staying out in. I think they should be made to walk those roads with bin bags and litter pickers. Again, not aware of I mean, we don't have the luxury of people coming behind them with sweepers and we don't have the luxury of having maybe so many bins and so on and so forth. And you only see the amount of rubbish sometimes in the summertime after the leave and through the bushes and through the hang. And you know yourself, I get it, I understand. We've all been kids. You open a nice lolly and it's all sticky and stuff like that. You don't want to carry that to the nearest bin. But a wee bit of education on that side of it, and maybe take them all round on the last week to educate them. Do that a couple of summers and then you'll not have to do it. But I just think it's about education. But it's definitely the road aspect of it. Lough in itself, it has a death trap. You could sit there on any day of the week. A guard could honestly retire after 1 week in Lough, for nobody comes through that town at the speed.
Because it's a good road. It's a sweeping road, isn't it?
You know, that's good, Greg. You know it well. So it's a good road. It's a good sweeping road. But the problem is, 9 times out of 10, you come out of a petrol station, and I had a guy coming. I was coming out of the petrol station, and I looked and I checked twice. The guy must have been flying, because when I went to go, he was right on top of me and I'm blowing the horn, to the point that I got out of the car and said, "What speed were you doing? Do you know this is a 30?" And he just sat back in the car, because that's the type of person I am. I'm one of these conventional people. I'll have it out with them. I'm like, no, hold on a minute. If you were doing more of a sensible speed, you wouldn't be panicking. So at situations like that, I would just like to bring to people's attention, because you hate the thought of somebody getting hurt or even worse. You know what I mean?
No, especially when the warning's out there, John. All good. Not sure about the litter picking, what people might think about that. But we'll throw it out there and see what the crack is. It's no harm. I've no problem with that, but sure, we'll see.
No, I think, you know what, Greg, again, it's a lovely, beautiful wee place, and if you know the area, it's gorgeous. And you've got that lake now. If we were in Britain, that lake would be a gold mine, because there'd be wee kayaks in it, there'd be pedals in it, that'd be a wee boom. But it's a beautiful wee place, and the people around it, they love it, they keep it well, and it's well looked after. But you hate to see, as I said, the mess that bees left after such things. And I just think it's a bit part of the education side of it as well, but make it a bit of a fun factor, just going, right, we're going up the road now, this is your last day today, up and down the road once, and then we're just going to lift all the rubbish that's in the sides of the roads. Because as I said, if you go up and down the roads through the winter, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So it's only just an educational side. And as I said, we've all been there, Greg. You open a nice lolly someplace in here, and it's all sticking, it's all over your hands. You're in a bad place. So I do get it. So that's just my point. But thanks very much for hearing it.
Thanks for coming on. Great to chat to you. Thank you very much indeed, John. Proud Locher Newman, obviously. If you agree or disagree, 086 60 25,000. That is the WhatsApp and the text number. I read last week about councillors complaining about ramps in Glencar. I certainly agree. You could get seasick as some are very big. Recently, my wife had breast surgery, and every time we went over these ramps, it hurt her. Why should she and anybody else who has surgery have to suffer more agony? Please lower the ramps. And I'll trust your local knowledge. Would those ramps be as effective if they were lower? Do they have to be as high as they are? Because obviously, you've got some areas they're screaming out for some sort of traffic calming measures, if you know what I'm saying. Having had a family member spend 13 hours in the ED over the last few days, I have to ask the question as to why nothing is being done about the type of seating there. Sitting on steel chairs when you're sick and sore is not right. I put the same text into your show the last time the hospital manager was on with you, and he said that they were working on changing them. I'd like to ask him, would he sit on a steel chair for a few days? They were supposed to be getting cushions for them. I don't know if the cushions went missing, if they ever appeared. Is it possible that they went missing? I don't know. But anyway, the cushions were either to be made available or applied to the seats to make them more comfortable. But I don't know. I think those seats, not in the Letterkenny sense, but I think those seats are designed almost to be uncomfortable in different environments so that you don't lie in them or sit too long on them. I'm not sure. I think they look very similar to seats in different spaces that's the motivation. Sligo Hospital have 2 bedroom rooms for families of patients. There are 2 bungalows based on the grounds. This was a number of years ago, and it cost my wife €25 to stay there for the night. It's a great service to have. Is it still there? Do people avail of that? It wouldn't have suited our guest earlier on, Tony, wasn't it? Because I'm not sure. It sounds like it's specific for younger people. I could be wrong in that regard. As a parent, we travel to Dublin with our child. I am not confident in driving down, and parking is a disaster. The bus is essential for us, but it does seem a bit mad. There's only a small difference in the price of an adult and a child ticket. A reduced rate or pass for those with long-term conditions would make it a little easier for a lot of families. There used to be buses for the hospitals in Dublin when you have to travel for the services. It would be great to have one less thing to worry about. My daughter attends hospital in Dublin. We have to take her down by car due to infection. €90 on diesel. M1 toll and M50 toll is €20. Parking €20 per day, plus loss of wages. No clean toilets from here to Dublin. There, but for the grace of God, go many of us. And as we heard earlier on, you'd do anything for your children, of course. But lost wages, 90 quid on diesel, 20 quid on tolls. That's 110. 20 on parking, 130 plus the money you're down. And this is just to get the same level of health care that someone in Stony Batter can get. Listening to that man talking about taking children for appointments in hospital, they may be able to use Bumbulance. I did fundraising for this charity last year, and apparently a lot of parents didn't know about it. It is a free service for sick children. Is it for ongoing care? We can dig that out and find out what the story is there. A caller says the Garda should be on the streets at night in Letterkenny to stop groups attacking people. And another, hi Greg, this seems to be a growing trend where people are driving with small dogs on their knees. Can be very highly distracting. Small dogs on your knees driving? My word, a sandwich is bad enough, and we wouldn't condone any of it. Okay, listen, that's where we have to leave it on the show today. Wedge Show, thanks so much for all the texts. We'll get to any we missed tomorrow. Have a great day. We're back at 9 o'clock on Wednesday.